Chapter 674. All of you, come at me together. Why would I be afraid? Ning Fan placed his hand on the devil's sealing pouch and strode forward. His eyes were filled with terrifying killing intent. There were more than 20 people present who wanted to kill him. There were at least 40 of them. However, some of them were still observing and did not dare to openly reveal their killing intent in case Ning Fan found out. At first, Wei Xian wanted to help Ning Fan. However, when his gaze fell on the devil's sealing pouch on Ning Fan's waist, he seemed to have noticed something and did not make a move. Even though his cultivation base had fallen, he was once a life immortal realm expert after all. He still had some judgment and means that he should have. He noticed that Ning Fan had a rogue devil realm devil slave in his hand. Facing this group of reckless cultivators, it would not be difficult for him to defeat them. Ming Kei's face was filled with anxiety. She could tell that there were countless people who wanted to kill Ning Fan. Even though her cultivation base was only at the first heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm, she still wanted to help Ning Fan regardless of everything. At this moment, a faint voice entered her ears. "Miss, don't worry. Your brother Biscuit still has his strongest trump card." "Who is it? Who is talking to me?" Ming Kei looked around but could not find the person who spoke. Ning Fan's battle with Moksha Sovereign had resulted in a significant backlash. His magic power was severely depleted and his body was extremely weak. However, his aura force did not decrease at all. Instead, it became even sharper and more terrifying. Some of the cultivators who wanted to take advantage of Ning Fan were discouraged when they saw how fearless he was. They gritted their teeth and gave up on the idea. The Ape Sovereign, Gu Dao and Old Ancestor Western Mountain's eyes turned grim. Each of them had a grudge against Ning Fan. Now that there was a reward of 50 million Dao crystals, it was impossible for them to let Ning Fan go. 2 of them were from the Devil World while the other one was from the Heaven Immortal World. They stepped out of the crowd and surrounded Ning Fan. Then, experts from the 3 Worlds sect, Ape Hall, Western Mountain Hall, Snake Hall and some rogue old monsters stepped out of the crowd. There were a total of 25 of them. Those old monsters who did not want to get involved in the dispute of this place retreated. "Ha, I like this kid. He dares to fight a group of cultivators without fear. He has the spirit of Old Man Han." Rogue Immortal Chu laughed heartily while fighting against a devil-armored old man. "Yes, it's not bad." The taciturn Rogue Immortal Gu nodded and said to Rogue Immortal Chu via voice transmission, "If necessary, you block the 2 summoned river rogue devils. I'll go save him." But Loose Immortal Chu readily agreed. The 2 devil-armored old men of the Summoned River sect smirked coldly. They entangled Chu and Gu tightly, not giving their clones any chance to save Ning Fan. From their point of view, Wei Xian's cultivation base had been reduced to 20%. It was not enough for him to save Ning Fan. Currently, Ning Fan was too weak to fight against a group of cultivators. With the reward of 50 million Dao crystals, Ning Fan would definitely die under the blades of the group of cultivators. No one would be able to save him. Humph. As long as you kill this child, you can more or less give Ancestor an explanation, and also let the 2 of us have a lighter punishment. Just as the green-haired loose devil had this thought, his expression suddenly changed. The Chu and Gu duo were slightly surprised and all the cultivators present were shocked. The 31 void fragmentation realm old monsters who were besieging Ning Fan instantly revealed an expression of extreme fear. At this moment, Ning Fan opened the pouch. At this moment, a black mist rushed into the sky and turned into a gigantic demonic creature. "Loose devil. Big head, do you know who you want to kill?" Ning Fan asked coldly. "I know. You must kill anyone who shows killing intent towards you, right?" "Wait, I'm not called Big Head." The loose devil protested endlessly. Although his head was a little huge as a devil creature. Although one of his divine abilities was indeed to transform into a giant skull, it was impossible for him to do so. However, he really did not like the name Big Head. Big Head Loose Devil. The evil Cloud Rain Sovereign actually has a Big Head Loose Devil. This is bad. As soon as one of the 5 old monsters of the mountain world saw the appearance of the loose devil, he turned around and fled in fear. His words, however, ignited the loose devil's anger in an instant. I'm not Big Head. You're the motherfucking Big Head. Your entire family is Big Head. The loose devil threw a punch. A black mist fist light carried an earth-shattering howl and killed the 5 old monsters who had already fled a million li away with a single punch. Then he opened his mouth and swallowed, keeping the storage pouch along with the dead body and tossing them aside. Before coming to the ancient heavenly court, Ning Fan had taught him to take away the corpse and the storage pouch after killing someone. Damn it. It's actually a loose devil. It seems like we won't be able to get these 50 million Dao crystals. I'm afraid our heads will have to be handed over here. This is really bad. The 8 old monsters of the heaven immortal world were filled with fear. They turned around and wanted to flee. The loose devil became even more furious. Human head. How dare you call me Big Head? You're the motherfucking Big Head. The loose devil's body turned into black mist and turned into a gigantic skull. Without giving the man any time to escape, it swallowed him into the skull. The ape sovereign was scared. The old ancestor of the Western Mountain was scared. Gu Dao was scared. The 2 8-shatterer experts of the devil world were all scared. There were only 29 void fragmentation realm enemies left. Who wouldn't be afraid of a loose devil? What a scary skull. Big your mother's head. The skull swallowed the 6 old monsters of the broken 6. Head for our lives. One of the 4 old monsters of the broken 4 turned around and fled. Head my ass. The skull swallowed the 4 old monsters of the broken 4 without any hesitation. Lord, please spare my life. One of the 3 old monsters of the broken 4 pleaded while trembling. Big your mother's head. You didn't say big? Forget it. I've already eaten him. The loose devil swallowed the 3 old monsters of the broken 4. The loose devil seemed to have gone berserk and began a frenzied massacre. He opened up a barrier and trapped all of Ning Fan's enemies within it. Then he swallowed them one by one. 2 of the 8-shatterer experts of the devil world summoned their magic treasures in an attempt to resist the loose devil. However, they were swallowed along with their magic treasures. The loose devil realized that he had become stronger. Swallowing the 8-shatterer experts of the devil world was effortless. Ever since he followed behind old ancestor Shilan and fought against a life-immortal realm expert, his strength had actually broken through several small bottlenecks and become stronger. If it wasn't for the fact that old ancestor Shilan gave him the name Big Head, he would really be grateful to old ancestor Shilan. While the loose devil was killing the group of cultivators, Ning Fan did not stay idle either. He sneered and released his baleful chi, forcing the 3 snake women who were hiding beside him to reveal themselves. The 3 snake women were all at the 4-shatterer realm. They came from the snake palace and were ordered by the snake sovereign to sneak attack Ning Fan. After being forced to reveal themselves by Ning Fan's baleful chi, the 3 of them were so scared that their faces turned pale. They turned around and ran. However, could they escape from him? Een imprisoning rope. Ning Fan pointed his finger and produced 3 Een imprisoning ropes. He tied the 3 of them up and threw them into his cauldron ring. How could he not accept void fragmentation realm cauldrons that were delivered to his doorstep? Give me 3 cauldrons in exchange for them. The snake sovereign was enraged. He took out a dragon crutch magic treasure and attacked Ning Fan. With just a glance, Ning Fan could tell that the snake sovereign was a female demon who would plunder both men and women. The snake sovereign was the one who first released killing intent towards him. The yin and yang in this person's body were in a mess. The benefits of plucking this person were too little. Ning Fan lifted his hand and pointed at the dragon crutch. His body flashed and appeared in front of the snake sovereign in an instant. Then, he pressed his palm on the top of the snake sovereign's head. Bang! With just a single palm strike, the snake sovereign's entire body turned into a pile of minced meat. Even his demon soul was destroyed. Ning Fan casually took away his storage pouch. The frailty on his face deepened, but his murderous aura became even heavier. His eyes swept across the battlefield. When he saw that there were less than 20 people left, his eyes flashed with cold light. He performed a hand seal with all 10 of his fingers, and a massive golden vortex appeared beneath his feet. Outside of the first golden vortex, a second vortex was formed. Outside of the second vortex, a third vortex was formed. Outside of the third vortex, there were countless other vortexes. It was the enhanced version of the spatial strangulation vortex, the infinite spatial vortex. In an instant, all the old monsters who were below the 5th level of fragmentation realm were minced into minced meat by the power of the spatial vortex. Their primordial spirits and demon souls perished. Only the ape sovereign, Gu Dao, the old ancestor of the Western Mountain, and 4 rogue cultivators of the 6th level of fragmentation realm were left alive. Ning Fan felt a sharp pain in his chest and blood trickled down the corner of his mouth. He had already reached his limit. He would leave the rest to the rogue devil. Bang! The rogue devil had already retreated from his skeletal body. He stomped on the ground with his 4 massive feet, directly crushing the 4 rogue cultivators into minced meat. The old ancestor of the Western Mountain was filled with regret. He regretted hating Ning Fan for a mere Zhaobanji and attacking Ning Fan for the reward of 50 million Dao crystals. Little friend, if you let me go, I promise you that the mountain world and the rain world will forever be allies. We will never invade each other. He roared in Ning Fan's direction. He knew that begging the rogue devil for mercy was useless. The rogue devil was basically a lunatic. No need. If you die, who else in the mountain world will dare to invade my rain world? Kill. As soon as Ning Fan gave the order, the rogue devil chuckled and made a grabbing motion with his large hand. He sucked the old ancestor into his palm and asked, do you think my head is big or not? No. The old ancestor was drenched in cold sweat. His entire body was trembling. As long as the rogue devil uses his palm force, he would certainly turn into a pile of minced meat and die without an intact corpse. You're lying. The rogue devil squeezed the old ancestor to death furiously. Then, he made a grabbing motion with his large hand and caught the ape sovereign. Speak. Am I a big head? The rogue devil asked angrily. The ape sovereign gritted his teeth so hard that they broke. It was really unwise to offend Ning Fan for the sake of a disciple. For the sake of 50 million Dao crystals, it was even more unwise to attack Ning Fan from all sides. It was all his own fault that he ended up in this situation today. He had to admit it. However, he had always been proud. Even if he was going to die, he would not beg for mercy like the old ancestor. He would not lower his head to the rogue devil and flatter him. Moreover, the old ancestor flattered the rogue devil by saying that he was not big but he was still dead in the end. You're obviously the big head. Nonsense. You're the motherfucking big head. Bang! The rogue devil squeezed the ape sovereign to death in a fit of rage. It was as easy as squeezing a little chick to death. His gaze shifted to Gu Dao. Gu Dao's face turned pale. He gritted his teeth and said, all the experts of the Three Worlds sect are dead. Our sect only exists in name. I don't want to live any longer. However, before I die, I must drag someone down with me. Chi-A's silver whirlpool suddenly appeared beneath Gu Dao's feet. His figure instantly disappeared. At the next moment, he stepped on the silver whirlpool and appeared behind Ning Fan. Without saying anything, he was about to detonate his primordial spirit and perish together with Ning Fan. The self-detonation of a 7-break-old monster was really not to be underestimated. It could even severely injure an 8-break-old monster. It was already very rare to be able to force a 7-break-old monster to self-detonate. You do have some backbone. I'll use the technique of your Three Worlds sect to send you to your death. Spatial vortex. A massive golden whirlpool rose beneath Ning Fan's feet. It directly sucked Gu Dao, who had given up on defending himself and self-detonated into his natal heavenly dwelling. With a loud bang, Gu Dao self-detonated in the space of his heavenly dwelling. His flesh and blood were devoured by the spatial vortex. His storage pouch flashed and flew into Ning Fan's hand. There was even a void fragmentation realm Dao fruit that came along with it. Ning Fan burned the broken limbs and flesh on the ground with his immortal flame. After refining the essence of their flesh and blood, He kept all of them into his cauldron world and fed them to Nieli. As for the storage pouches on the ground, they were all taken away by Ning Fan. After that, he ordered the rogue devil to remove the barrier. Big head, well done. It was obviously a compliment. However, when the rogue devil heard it, it almost made him go berserk. You're the motherfucker. Just as he wanted to retort and scold Ning Fan, he immediately shut his mouth obediently when he met Ning Fan's cold gaze. Now that he had truly become Ning Fan's devil slave, his life and death were in Ning Fan's hands. He could scold anyone but Ning Fan. Sigh. Among the 31 void fragmentation realm experts, 3 of them were captured and turned into human cauldrons while the rest were dead. All the void fragmentation realm old monsters present were shocked. The 7 rogue immortal old ancestors were also shocked. With this rogue devil, the rain world is no longer the lower 3 realms. It won't be an exaggeration to say that it's one of the upper 3 realms. The eyes of the 2 devil-armored old men of the Summoned River sect were filled with astonishment. Rogue Immortal Chu burst into laughter and said to Ning Fan, "Good kid. Do you want to join me and kill these 2 rogue devils of the Summoned River sect?" "I won't participate in the battle. Big head you go." As soon as Ning Fan gave the order, the rogue devil soared into the sky. Together with Chu and Gu, they immediately formed a pincer attack. It was 3 against 2 and they had the upper hand. One of the rogue devils of the Summoned River sect was severely injured. He gritted his teeth and took out a talisman. He stuck it on his chest and disappeared without a trace. Motherfucker. One of them escaped. This one must stay. Rogue Immortal Chu cursed angrily. He patted his storage pouch and took out a secret treasure. He hit the other green-haired rogue devil, causing him to spurt out blood and fall to the sky. This green-haired rogue devil was the one who offered 50 million Dao crystals to kill Ning Fan. Rogue Immortal Gu did not give the green-haired rogue devil a chance to fall to the sky. He drew the heavenly light with his sword and cut the green-haired rogue devil into 2 halves. Big Head laughed and threw a punch, crushing the 2 halves of the green-haired rogue devil's body into pieces, revealing his terrified primordial spirit. "You guys are really despicable. How dare you bully me with numbers?" Knowing that he was no match for them, he actually tried to play a trick. Capture his primordial spirit alive. I want to search his soul. Ning Fan said to Rogue Immortal Ling. He was quite interested in the ancient devil's abyss. He wanted to obtain some information about it from this person's memory. Just a piece of cake. The ancient devil pointed his finger and the devil mist turned into a devil lock, binding the green-haired rogue devil's primordial spirit. Then he took his storage pouch. He landed on the ground and handed everything to Ning Fan. Ning Fan received the primordial spirit and kept the pouch. He turned a deaf ear to the green-haired rogue devil's curses and begging for mercy and directly searched his memories. After that, he sealed the idiotic primordial spirit. Perhaps it could be used in pill concoction in the future. Hiss. The void fragmentation realm old monsters of the devil world and the other worlds felt a chill down their spines. A rogue devil was actually besieged and captured alive. Then, Ning Fan searched his memories. That was a rogue devil expert. He was one of the rare existences in the lower worlds. When the experts of the demon world saw what happened to the green-haired rogue devil, they could not help but recall the scene where Ning Fan killed the 4 yellow dragon rogue demons that day. Their eyes were filled with astonishment. When they thought of the countless experts who had fallen today, each of the old monsters looked at Ning Fan with respect. So many experts had fallen within a day. Among them were quite a number of sovereign realm experts and the old ancestors of one of the palaces. The 9 worlds were probably in a state of shock. With this person around, no one could stop the rise of the rain world. This person must not be offended. The eyes of the cloaked old man who was standing at the side flashed with a hint of surprise. "You're a good junior. Unfortunately, you're not from my demon spirit land. What a pity." Ming Kei walked forward and hugged Ning Fan's arm. Her small hands were trembling. Previously, when she saw Ning Fan being besieged by so many experts, she almost lost all hope. Fortunately, it's still all right. "Brother Biscuit, Quickly stabilize your injuries. I'll protect you. All right. Ning Fan sat cross-legged on the ground. He casually took out a 7th revolution pill and consumed it to heal his injuries. Beside him, Wei Xian and Chu Gu were also protecting him. Among the people present, who would dare to have any evil thoughts? The old Fox Sovereign and the old Crimson Sovereign exchanged glances and sighed. They had lost another chance to befriend Ning Fan. If the two of them had helped Ning Fan when he was besieged just now, they hesitated for a moment and were afraid of the Summoning River sect. Hence, they missed the chance. If the old Yuan Sovereign was here, he would probably help Ning Fan without hesitation. Chapter 675. A day later, Ning Fan suppressed his internal injuries and his complexion slightly recovered. Even though his injuries were not fully healed, his magical power was fully restored. At this moment, he could even win against Seven Sui. It seems like your injuries are no longer a problem. If so, I can leave with a peace of mind. Wei Xian said with a gratified smile. Senior is leaving? Aren't you going to enter the Heavenly Court's ruins with me? Ning Fan was surprised. There's no need. This time, this old man has brought Chu and Gu to the lower worlds. Firstly, it's to help you kill Moksha Sovereign. Secondly, it's to bring some things to your master in the Sword World, and also to help him complete the final step of unsealing the Tao Earth. I see. Ning Fan knew that he was busy unsealing the Tao Earth to plant the Tao fruit. That being the case, he naturally would not stop Wei Xian and the others from going to the Sword World. If Senior sees my master, please help me pass a message to him. Just say, the traitor died in Ning Fan's hands, please restrain your condolences. Finished speaking, Ning Fan closed his eyes. He knew that the old monster's heart had an indelible sorrow for Han Nietian's betrayal. He hated Han Nietian, but he never killed him. The old monster was decisive in killing outsiders, but he was still merciful to his own disciples, even if they were evil disciples. Ning Fan firmly believed that with the old monster's previous cultivation and identity, it would not be difficult to find an expert to cure him. If he really wanted to kill Han Nietian, he only needed to give an order and the experts of the Black Evil sect would go to the lower world to kill him even if they had to defy the heavenly law. If he really wanted to kill Han Nietian, he would have asked that golden-eyed sword cultivator to do it. To that golden-eyed sword cultivator, not to mention Han Nietian, even a life immortal or an ordinary true crossing realm true immortal wouldn't have a hard time killing them. The old monster was just unwilling. He had always been waiting for Han Nietian to turn back. He had always been giving Han Nietian a chance. The greater the expectation, the greater the disappointment. He was unwilling to restore his cultivation. The sorrow in his heart was hard to erase, until Ning Fan's appearance gave him hope and reignited his fighting spirit. He wanted to restore his cultivation, wanted to protect his Xiao Mei and wanted to support the sky for Ning Fan. But at this time, Han Nietian came to 7 Apricot City, destroying the old monster's expectations and once again breaking his heart. Ning Fan knew that if he killed Moksha Sovereign, he would be able to resolve the knot in the old monster's heart and take his revenge, but it would also make the old monster grieve. That was because even in death, Han Nietian did not wake up, nor did he look back. Wei Xian sighed and nodded. Then he took out a jade slip and passed it to Ning Fan. This diagram contains some information about the ancient heavenly court's 33 heavens. Perhaps it will be useful to you. Originally, this old man had prepared some things for you to break through to the void fragmentation realm. However, it seems like I don't need them anymore. After entering the ancient heavenly court, you have to be extra careful. As long as you don't cause any big trouble, you won't be in danger with the help of the rogue devil. As soon as Wei Xian finished speaking, Rogue Immortal Chu also stepped forward and patted Ning Fan's shoulder in a friendly manner. I, Chu Jiang'an, find you very pleasing to the eye. If you come to True Flame Star one day, remember to come and find me for a drink. Rogue Immortal Gu also stepped forward and nodded at Ning Fan. His words were like gold, but his eyes were full of praise. Old Man Han's life is not in vain to have you as his disciple. If he comes to Northern Heaven in the future and encounters any trouble, he can come to Northern Heaven Myriad Sword Sect to look for me. Those who were willing to help the old monster when he was in dire straits must be good friends. Ning Fan naturally did not dare to neglect them. He cupped his fists and promised them. After that, Wei Xian and the other two went to the lower broken domain, heading towards the sword world. Biscuit brother, what did you see in that green-haired old man's memory? Can you tell me about it? I'm very interested in the ancient demon's abyss. Perhaps one day, I will ascend to the ancient demon's abyss. After all, I'm a pill. Bright Sparrow was babbling nonsense. Before she could finish her words, Ning Fan had already pulled her into his arms and covered her mouth. Ning Fan's eyes were filled with reproach. If Bright Sparrow reveals her identity as a pill devil here, she would probably get into trouble. The face of the gray-cloaked old man twitched. It seemed like he could not accept Ning Fan hugging Bright Sparrow like this. When he heard that Bright Sparrow wanted to ascend to the ancient demon's abyss, he found it even more unacceptable. What kind of joke is this? She is a noble being. How can she ascend to a filthy place like the ancient demon's abyss? If you want to know more about the ancient demon's abyss, I can tell you. However, you must not speak nonsense anymore. Do you understand? Ning Fan reprimanded. I will remember. Being half-hugged by Ning Fan, Bright Sparrow felt her heart beating faster and her face turned red. Take a look. These are the incomplete memories of that rogue devil. Ning Fan let go of Bright Sparrow and touched her glabella with a finger, transmitting the incomplete memories into her sea of consciousness. Then, he took out the jade slip that Wei Xian gave him and sent his spirit sense into it. So this is the ancient demon's abyss. The old ancestor of the summoned river is obviously a heaven devil at the crossing truth realm. However, the summoned river sect is just a weak force in the ancient demon's abyss. The ancient demon's abyss is so powerful, Bright Sparrow could not help but exclaim. All the void fragmentation realm old monsters listened attentively, especially the cultivators of the devil world. The ancient demon's abyss was very mysterious. Even the four great rogue devil old ancestors of the devil world had a limited understanding of it. They did not have Ning Fan's boldness to search the memories of the experts of the summoned river sect. Ning Fan did not pay attention to Bright Sparrow. As long as she did not reveal her identity as a pill devil, she could say whatever she wanted. His mind was completely immersed in the jade slip that Wei Xian gave him. When he finished reading the contents, he remained silent. In the ruins of the heavenly court, there were many demonic beasts and devils running amok. However, they were not worth his attention. What he needed to pay attention to was the immortal burying clan. The ancestor of the immortal burying clan was rumored to be an expert who was condensed from the corpse chi and resentment of the immortals who died in the ancient heavenly court. During his lifetime, he founded the immortal burying clan with his own hands and it dominated the 33 heavens. When immortals died, no one buried them. Therefore, the immortal burying clan was born. There were many void fragmentation realm experts in the immortal burying clan. There were also 9 ancestors and 18 kings. Each of them was a rogue immortal expert. The immortal burying clan cultivated corpse chi, practiced corpse techniques and refined corpse poison. They often devoured the ancient corpses of the heavenly court. If you enter the 33 heavens, try not to kill the experts of the immortal burying clan. If you kill one of them, you will attract the attack of countless members of the immortal burying clan. That was Wei Xian's warning. After passing through the sealed door, one could enter the first heavenly realm. When others entered the sealed door, they would need to wait for the seal to be broken. If they have the Void Sky token, they could ignore the seal and enter the first heavenly realm in advance. There were 2 heavenly gates in the first heavenly realm which led to the second heavenly realm. These 2 heavenly gates were guarded by the immortal burying clan. One could only enter the first heavenly realm by paying with Tao crystals. There were 3 heavenly gates leading to the third heavenly realm from the second heavenly realm. With each passing day, 1 more heavenly gate would appear and the realm would become much wider. After keeping the jade slip, Ning Fan patted his storage pouch and took out a red copper token. There were 10 sun engravings on it. This was the Void Sky token. It was the token of the immortals of the ancient heavenly court. It could directly enter the sealed door and some special forbidden places in the ancient heavenly court. Normally, only true immortals of the four heavens were qualified to hold this token. We still have to wait for 2 more days before the seal opens. This is so boring. Ming-Kei had already finished reading the information about the ancient demon's abyss. In that case, let's enter the ruins of the heavenly court first. Ning Fan held Ming-Kei's petite body with his right arm and waved the copper token in his left hand. The two of them immediately passed through the sealed door with a flash of light and entered the first heavenly realm. The Void Sky Token. The Void Sky Token that can directly enter the heavenly court. The evil Cloud Rain Sovereign actually has this item. Even in the four heavens, only old monsters who are above the true immortal realm possess this item. He actually has it. Countless exclamations resounded in the surroundings. Even the gray-robed old man who was wearing a cloak was slightly surprised. All of this had nothing to do with Ning Fan. He kept the Void Sky Token and put Ming-Kei down. They were already in the first heavenly realm. As soon as they arrived, Ming-Kei immediately raised her nose and sniffed with all her might. Her eyes were filled with excitement. There are so many delicious things. There are all of them. Let's go look for food quickly. The little girl was drooling. Let me find the location of the heavenly gates first. Ning Fan closed his eyes. His body was surrounded by a heavenly green rain intent. He used the heaven-peering rain technique. Si Wuxia had given him 3 years to ascend to the 33 heavens. Moreover, she even said that he had to disregard everything. Ning Fan already had a guess in his mind. Each of the 33 heavens must be extremely vast. Otherwise, there was no need for him to spend so much time. But it's raining. Ming-Kei looked at the drizzling sky and could not help but recall the days when it was raining heavily in the Dark Sparrow's grave. The curtain of rain stretched far away. With Ning Fan's current cultivation base, using the heaven-peering rain technique was enough to make the entire rain world be covered in rain. However, the first heavenly realm was obviously much vaster than the rain world. With his rain technique, not only did he not manage to find the edge of the first heavenly realm, he also could not find the location of the 2 heavenly gates. Within the range of his senses, there were at least thousands of demon beasts and devil beasts above the void fragmentation realm. There were also some cultivators who were as skinny as a match. They wore black armor and held long spears in their hands. They were in secluded cultivation in this place. Those people were probably the members of the immortal burial clan that Wei Xian mentioned. Ning Fan withdrew his rain technique and frowned. For a moment, he did not know which direction he should go in order to find the heavenly gates that led to the second heavenly realm. I might as well follow Ming Quebec. Her nose is sensitive. She might be able to smell the location of the heavenly gates. Little girl, try and see if you can smell the location of the heavenly gates. Heavenly gates? What's that? Ming-Kei asked in confusion. Forget it. Let's take one step at a time. You bring me to search for treasures. If we can meet some members of the immortal burial clan who are also searching for treasures, we can ask them where the heavenly gates are. They are guarding the heavenly gates to collect Dao crystals. If I give them some Dao crystals, it shouldn't be difficult for them to ask for directions. Ning Fan took out his ancient golden sword and carried Ming-Kei on his sword. He consumed pills to treat his injuries on the sword while Ming-Kei was responsible for leading the way to search for treasures. Most of the demon beasts and devil beasts that they encountered along the way had their cultivation bases broken. Those who tried to attack them were all killed by Ning Fan casually, and their corpses were thrown to Nieli for him to devour. After devouring the flesh and blood essence of a rogue devil and countless experts, Nieli actually showed signs of breaking through to the 7th fragmentation realm. With Ming-Kei's guidance, Ning Fan discovered quite a number of extremely secretive ancient immortal caves. These caves had existed for a very long time. The items inside them were no longer useful. Occasionally, they would find a half-destroyed immortal treasure, but Ning Fan was not interested in it at all. On the other hand, he found quite a number of Dao crystals. Together with the 32 storage pouches that he obtained previously, he already had 3 million Dao crystals with him. There were also some rare spiritual herbs growing in these caves. The lowest grade of them was 50,000 years old, while the highest grade of them was even 200,000 years old. To the current Ning Fan, spiritual herbs were temporarily useless to him. He did not have the time to study pill refinement techniques. Since Ming Ke wanted to eat these spiritual herbs, he gave them all to her. Brother Biscuit, it smells so good. It really smells so good. I can smell an incredible fragrance. There must be a lot of good items in this direction. Ming Ke suddenly pointed to the north of the east and said excitedly, "Is that so? Then let's go and have a look." Ning Fan smiled indifferently. Speaking of which, it was strange. They actually did not encounter any experts of the Immortal Burial Clan along the way. Thus, Ning Fan did not have any chance to ask any questions at all. However, in the direction that Ming Ke was pointing at, Ning Fan could vaguely sense a lot of strong qi. They seemed to be the members of the Immortal Burial Clan. If I go in that direction, I will most likely be able to ask for directions. The speed of the ancient golden sword was comparable to that of a rogue immortal. After a dozen flashes, it had already traveled more than 100 million li. From afar, he could see a blood-red light that shot up to the sky. That blood-red light gave Ning Fan an extremely uncomfortable feeling. The sword light flew all the way to where the blood-red light was. When it got close to the place, Ning Fan retracted his sword light. He could vaguely see an ancient sacrificial altar below. On the sacrificial altar, members of the Immortal Burial Clan who were clad in black armor were constantly being killed as if they were being sacrificed. In the sky above the sacrificial altar, the blood-red light shot up to the sky. Countless rare spiritual herbs were displayed on the four sides of the sacrificial altar. Countless members of the Immortal Burial Clan were silently chanting ancient scriptures in front of the sacrificial altar and bowing their heads in worship. Aya! It turns out that these spiritual herbs already have an owner. Seems like I can't eat them anymore. Ming Ke's face was filled with disappointment. These spiritual herbs are the sacrificial offerings of the Immortal Burial Clan. If it's not necessary, it's not worth getting into a fight with them for these spiritual herbs. The reason why Ning Fan entered the ancient heavenly court was to find the undying tree and save Mu Whaleyoung. If it's possible, he did not want to cause any trouble, and he was even more unwilling to offend the local tyrant of this place, the Immortal Burial Clan. If he kills any member of the Immortal Burial Clan, he would be surrounded and attacked by the entire clan. The Immortal Burial Clan had countless experts, and there were even 9 ancestors and 18 kings. If he is chased by 27 rogue immortals, Ning Fan did not have the confidence to protect himself. For you, don't you know that this place is the forbidden area of my clan and no one is allowed to peep into it? 12 void fragmentation realm black-armored burly men rose into the sky and surrounded the ancient golden sword. Among the 12 of them, the weakest one was at the 5th heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm, while the strongest one was a bald burly man at the 7th heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. These 12 people were the strongest experts in this place. They seemed to be the guards of this place. Ning Fan cupped his fists at the bald burly man and said, "I just happened to pass by this place. I don't have any intention to spy on you. Is that so? So you are cultivators from the outside world?" The burly man's eyes flashed with a hint of disdain and he sneered. "That's right. I am indeed a cultivator from the outside world. I wonder if you have a map of the first heaven realm." "I am looking for the heavenly gate that leads to the second heaven realm." Ning Fan's expression remained unchanged, ignoring the burly man's disdain. "You want the map of the first heaven realm?" The burly man rolled his eyes and burst into laughter. "That's easy. 1,000,000 Dao crystals for a map. If you are willing to pay, I will sell you a copy of the map. If you don't want to pay, you can continue searching aimlessly in the first heaven realm. I don't mind telling you one thing. Among the 33 heavens, the first heaven is the smallest. However, even the smallest heaven realm is as vast as 20 small kiliocosms. Even if you have the map and know where the heavenly gate is, it will take you at least half a month to reach the nearest heavenly gate from here. If you are to search aimlessly..." The burly man raised 3 fingers and said with a cold smile, It will take you at least 3 years to find the location of the Heavenly Gate. As a member of the Immortal Burial Clan, the burly man had always looked down on cultivators from the outside world. Seeing that Ning Fan was in a hurry to travel, he naturally wanted to extort a sum of money from him. Ming Ke was so surprised that she could not close her small mouth. Selling a map for 1 million Dao crystals was really too expensive. To the members of the Immortal Burial Clan, making a map was extremely simple. They just needed to carve a jade slip on it. It could be sold for 1 million Dao crystals. He was obviously trying to raise the price. Brother Biscuit, I will go and beat him up. When he is afraid of me, he will certainly give you a copy of the map for free. Ming Ke waved her fist and said, Beat him up? Can you defeat him? I can't, but I still have you, right? Don't tell me you can bear to see me being bullied by others. Ming Ke giggled. Ning Fan shook his head with a smile. If it wasn't because of the importance of saving Mu Weiliang, which he could not afford to make any mistakes, he would certainly not be extorted by others for no reason given his personality. He was never the kind of person who would suffer losses. As for now, Ning Fan flicked his sleeve and a storage pouch containing 1 million Dao crystals flew into the hands of the burly bald man. The bald man was slightly stunned. Originally, he just wanted to tease Ning Fan. He did not expect that Ning Fan would pay him. In his eyes, Ning Fan was an outsider who only had a 6th Shattering Realm cultivation base. He was at the 7th Shattering Realm. Why would he be afraid of a 6th Shattering Realm cultivator? In the past, when the ancient Heavenly Court opened, which outsider cultivator did not act cautiously in fear of offending the Immortal Burial Clan? Even rogue immortals had to cup their fists and greet the members of the Immortal Burial Clan, let alone Ning Fan, who was just at the 6th Shattering Realm. Who would dare to offend the Immortal Burial Clan in the 33 heavens? The burly bald man did not expect Ning Fan to be willing to pay 1 million Dao crystals for the map. With 1 million Dao crystals in his hand, the burly man's heart skipped a beat. 1 million is too little. If you give me 2 million Dao crystals, I will give you the map of the first day. We agreed on 1 million. Why did it become 2 million now? Ming Ke was a little angry. If you are unwilling to pay, just leave. Of course, I won't return this 1 million to you. The burly bald man said mockingly. Ning Fan frowned but did not say anything. He flicked his sleeve again and tossed a storage pouch to the burly bald man. There were another 1 million Dao crystals in this storage pouch. I want the map. Ning Fan's tone became slightly cold. Another 1 million Dao crystals. The burly bald man licked his lips. The 11 experts of the Immortal Burial Clan at the side looked at him enviously. Envious. They are really envious. In their eyes, Ning Fan was just a fat sheep that could be slaughtered at any time. However, this fat sheep was monopolized by the burly bald man. There was no other way. After all, the burly bald man had the highest cultivation base. If there were benefits, he would naturally get them first. I've changed my mind. A map for 3 million Dao crystals. You have to give me another 1 million Dao crystals. Wait. The burly bald man suddenly looked at Ming Ke in disbelief, as if he had discovered something unbelievable. He took out a blood-red jade pendant and shone it at Ming Quebec. When the jade pendant lit up slightly, he was immediately overjoyed. Ha! A pill devil! I'm really lucky. There's actually a pill devil among the outsider cultivators this time. The 9 ancestors and 18 kings have ordered us to find a pill devil to help our ancestor revive. Great. This is really great. This great merit has been obtained by me. The burly bald man kept the blood-red jade pendant and looked at Ning Fan with a cold smile. Young man, hand over all the Dao crystals you have. Then, hand over the little girl beside you to me. This ancient golden sword isn't bad either. Give me one of them and I'll give you a map. Little Ming Ke was so angry that she could no longer speak. She had seen people who were insatiable. However, it was her first time seeing someone like the burly bald man who had no sense of propriety. After all, the Immortal Burial Clan was used to being arrogant. In their eyes, outsider cultivators were just people who could be bullied and humiliated. Ning Fan's eyes flashed with killing intent, but he forcefully suppressed it. He pulled Ming Ke behind him and said coldly, "I don't want the map anymore. Farewell." If it wasn't necessary, he really did not want to start a war with the Immortal Burial Clan. He just wanted to save Mu Weiliang peacefully. However, it was also impossible for him to hand Ming Ke over to these people. Trying to leave? Humph. I originally wanted to let you go. Since you don't know what's good for you, don't blame me for being impolite. Let's attack together and kill that outsider cultivator. Capture that little pill devil girl alive and bring her back to receive the reward. As soon as the burly bald man gave his order, the 11 experts of the Immortal Burial Clan swarmed towards the ancient sword. Ning Fan closed his eyes. When he opened them again, his eyes flashed with cold light. Today, he had already endured it again and again. However, this member of the Immortal Burial Clan had crossed his bottom line. He turned around and transformed into black robes. He raised his hand and extracted the Earth Soul and Void Soul. Ning Fan's cultivation base instantly reached the peak of the 7th Soul Break realm. His body instantly turned into black shadows and dispersed. The entire sky was covered by the black shadows, and it dyed the vast sky black. In an instant, all 11 experts of the Immortal Burial Clan were enveloped by the black shadows. 7 of them at the 5th Soul Break realm and 4 of them at the 6th Soul Break realm screamed in terror at the same time. Their bodies were minced into pieces by the black shadows, turning into a rain of blood and minced flesh that rained down from the sky. Their primordial spirits were instantly killed by the Black Tempest soul-splitting technique. How dare you kill members of the Immortal Burial Clan? Aren't you afraid of the 9 ancestors and 18 kings' revenge? The burly bald man's body trembled. At this moment, he could feel the boundless baleful chi in Ning Fan's eyes. It was the strongest baleful chi he had ever seen in his life. This was a devil lord of massacre. He thought that he had encountered a fat sheep, but he did not expect that this person was actually a ferocious tiger in sheep's clothing. If I kill all of you here, who would know that I'm the one who killed you? With a wave of his hand, Ning Fan kept the storage pouches of the 11 experts of the Immortal Burial Clan. The black shadows dispersed and swept towards the burly bald man. The burly bald man's body trembled violently. Without saying a word, he wanted to escape. He could already tell that he was definitely not Ning Fan's match. Even an ordinary 8th Soul Break realm expert might not be able to survive in Ning Fan's hands. He wanted to run away, but a golden vortex appeared under his feet out of nowhere. His feet were trapped inside the vortex, making it impossible for him to escape. At the next moment, the black shadows attacked him and engulfed him. With a shrill scream, he was minced into countless pieces of minced flesh by the black shadows. His primordial spirit was captured by Ning Fan's hand, and his soul and memories were being searched. In this way, the map would be in my hands. Isn't it very simple? Ning Fan's cold eyes swept across the members of the Immortal Burial Clan below him. There were a few hundred of them, and there were even 1 or 2 Void Fragmentation Realm experts among them. Each of them was staring at Ning Fan with fear. Many of them formed hand seals, trying to send out their messenger flying swords to inform the 9 ancestors and 18 kings to kill Ning Fan. Ning Fan would not give them the chance to do so. His sword's sense turned into a barrier, enveloping everyone within it. None of them could send any messages to the outside world. All of a sudden, an incomparably massive golden vortex appeared on the ground of the sacrificial altar. It sucked all the experts of the Immortal Burial Clan into the vortex and killed them all. Dao fruits, storage pouches, and the blood and flesh essence of countless experts. The blood and flesh essence of these experts were kept in the cauldron world by Ning Fan and placed in front of the giant demon cocoon that Nieli had formed. After these experts died, each of them produced a trace of corpse chi which floated in the air and was refined by Ning Fan one by one. This was an unexpected gain. The corpse chi could gradually improve Ning Fan's corpse devil physique. Initially, he thought that there would be corpse chi in the ancient heavenly court. However, he did not expect that all the corpse chi here would be taken away by the Immortal Burial Clan. After killing these experts, Ning Fan obtained 300,000 Dao crystals. There were a total of 330,000 Dao crystals. As for the countless rare spiritual herbs on the sacrificial altar, they were all taken away by Ning Fan and given to Ming Ke for her to eat. Brother Biscuit is so violent. But I like it. Ming Ke chewed on a spiritual herb with a satisfied look and said with a smile, "Let's go. I already know where the heavenly gate is. Let's go there directly. After killing the members of the immortal burial clan like this, I'm afraid the 33 heavens will be in turmoil." Ning Fan took a deep look at the sacrificial altar. The blood-red light on the altar was slowly fading away. However, it gave him an endless ominous feeling, putting away his distracting thoughts. Ning Fan stepped on the ancient sword and headed straight for the heavenly gate. In a certain ancient forbidden area in the first heaven realm, a skinny old man wearing golden armor was suddenly enraged. The ground beneath him was covered in extremely profound blood-colored talisman markings. He patted his storage pouch and took out hundreds of broken life tokens. Among these life tokens were the sacrificial offerings that were supposed to be offered to the ancestors and the guards that were sent to the sacrificial altar. They're dead. All of them are dead. Humph. In the first heaven realm, the strongest demon beasts and devil beasts are only at the third heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. How could they have the strength to attack the sacrificial altar? Could the murderer be a cultivator from the outside world? The golden-armored old man's eyes flashed with killing intent. The aura force of a rogue immortal rose to the sky. If it wasn't because I have to guard this forbidden area and protect the ancestors from their awakening, I would certainly show up personally to investigate who is so bold as to kill members of the immortal burial clan. His eyes turned grim. He raised his hand and sent out countless messenger flying swords. There was only one message, which was to order all members of the immortal burial clan in the first heaven realm to kill any cultivator from the outside world without mercy. How dare a mere ant from the outside offend my immortal burial clan? Pumph. The golden-armored old man sneered and closed his eyes again. Then he performed some kind of extremely mysterious hand seal. The sealed door of the broken domain in the upper level was finally opened. A group of void fragmentation realm old monsters who had been waiting for a long time rushed into the first heaven realm. As soon as they entered the first heaven realm, everyone wore a look of disbelief. There were already many experts of the immortal burial clan guarding the door. As soon as they saw them entering the realm, they immediately launched a fatal attack. Impossible! Even though the immortal burial clan has always looked down on us cultivators from the outside world, they won't attack us easily. Why would they point their swords at us when the heavenly court opens this time? Could it be that some arrogant cultivator killed the members of the immortal burial clan and angered them? Who is it? Who else could it be? Only the evil Cloud Rain Sovereign alone entered the first heaven realm in advance with the Void Sky token. Each of the old monsters sighed. Some of them even complained to Ning Fan. They had the advantage in numbers. Moreover, there were 7 rogue immortal old monsters present. Naturally, they would not be hurt by the members of the immortal burial clan. Now that they had already become enemies with the immortal burial clan, there was no need for them to be patient anymore. Everyone attacked and killed the group of immortal burial clan experts in no time. However, the expressions of each of the old monsters were extremely unpleasant. Since they had become enemies with the immortal burial clan, it would probably be extremely dangerous to enter the ancient heavenly court this time. Rumor has it that the immortal burial clan is guarded by 9 ancestors and 18 kings. In the first 27 floors of the heaven realm, there is a rogue immortal ancestral king. In order to avoid being left alone and getting into trouble, this old man suggests that we should split into 7 groups. Each group will be led by a rogue immortal old ancestor. We will search for fortune in 7 different directions. In this way, even if we are attacked by the ancestral kings of each floor of the heaven realm, it won't be too dangerous. Fellow Taoists, what do you think of this old man's suggestion? One of the old monsters suggested. This suggestion is naturally very good. We have no objections. Each of the low-level void fragmentation realm experts agreed with the suggestion. However, their faces were filled with sighs. Traveling with the rogue immortal old ancestors was naturally less dangerous. However, if they managed to find any supreme treasures, they would most likely be taken away by those old ancestors. This time, entering the ancient heavenly court to search for fortune would probably not be able to obtain too many benefits. The speed of finding treasures would also be greatly reduced due to the continuous attacks of the immortal burial clan. The sinful Cloud Rain sovereign really knows how to cause trouble for everyone. Chapter 676. Amidst the boundless sea of clouds, a golden sword light sped toward the nearest heavenly gate at a speed comparable to an itinerant immortal. According to what the bald man said, with Ning Fan's speed of breaking the 6 escape technique, he would need half a month to reach the heavenly gate. However, if he transformed into a loose immortal, he would need at most 7 days to arrive at the heavenly gate. It had been 3 days since he killed the bald man and the others. Along the way, whenever the members of the immortal burial clan discovered Ning Fan's whereabouts, they would immediately send out a signal and attack him without hesitation. During these 3 days, he had already killed thousands of experts of the immortal burial clan. Each of them was an expert above the divine transformation realm. He had also killed 3 void fragmentation realm experts. Their cultivation bases were not high. They were only at the 1st or 2nd heavenly layer. Biscuit brother, there are still many treasures in the 1st heaven realm. Aren't we going to look for them? Bright Sparrow said with some vexation. If it's on the way, I'll take it. If it's not on the way, I'll just abandon it. Ning Fan shook his head. From the memories of the immortal burial clan members he killed, he found out that not only the 1st heaven realm, but all the immortal burial clan members had been mobilized in the past 27 days. These immortal burial clan members had received orders to kill all foreign cultivators they encountered. The 9 ancestors and 18 kings seemed to be busy with their own matters. None of them showed up to chase after Ning Fan. Even so, the immortal burial clan was not to be underestimated. It was said that in the immortal burial clan, there were also some corpse devils with rogue immortal cultivation sealed up. All of them were transformed from the corpses of ancient immortals. Under such circumstances, Ning Fan naturally did not have the mood to search for treasures. He just wanted to kill his way to the 33 heavens as soon as possible. The more he killed, the denser the corpse chi in his body became. The corpse chi seeped into Ning Fan's body, prompting his corpse devil body to slowly advance towards the 3rd corpse transformation. All of a sudden, the ancient sword was repelled by a finger projection and stopped in midair. In front of the ancient sword, there was a burly man in red robes who wore an evil smile on his face. Behind him were tens of divine transformation and void refinement realm experts of the immortal burial clan. Heh, I'm really lucky to run into 2 foreign cultivators. One is a 1 shatter, the other is 6 shatter. The one with the 6 broken seems to be a cultivator from the rain world. This red-robed man didn't look like a member of the immortal burial race. There seemed to be a fire circulating in his body. His Tao name was True Flame, and he was a cultivator of the fire world from 60,000 years ago. That year, he had entered the ancient heavenly court as a first demolisher. Unfortunately for him, he had been captured by the immortal burying tribesmen, who had placed a restrictive spell on him and taken him as a slave. Although he had been reduced to a slave in the ancient heavenly court, his cultivation base had continued to rise. After 60,000 years, he was already a level 7 demolisher. It seemed like in order to win over True Flame, the 9 ancestors and 18 kings erased True Flame's mental restriction and restored his freedom. They made him a guest elder to continue working for the celestial burial clan. There were many old monsters in the 9 realms that had become slaves to the celestial graveyard. True Flame Yen sneered at Ning Fan. As far as he knew, the rain world had always been the weakest in the 9 worlds. Even though Ning Fan was at the 6 Shatter realm, it seemed like he had just achieved that breakthrough not too long ago. Therefore, his combat power should not be that high. As for Bright Sparrow, who had destroyed one of her cultivation bases, Master Yenjin didn't put her in his eyes at all. Hee, this little girl is not bad. She is full of primordial een and can be used as a cauldron. Brat, hand this girl over to this seat, and this seat can leave your corpse intact." Before True Flame Yen Zhen's sneer ended, his eyes were filled with shock. However, Ning Fan did not have the intention to talk nonsense with him at all. He directly used the soul extraction technique and raised his cultivation base to the peak of the 7th Shatterer realm in an instant. He lifted a finger and pointed at the ground. An incomparably massive golden vortex appeared beneath the feet of True Flame Yen Zhen and the others. The dozens of experts of the Celestial Burial Clan were instantly sucked into the vortex. They let out miserable shrieks and turned into puddles of blood. As for True Flame Yen Zhen, both of his feet were trapped in the golden vortex. His body kept sinking. He could not get rid of the spatial vortex technique at all. A moment of carelessness and he was about to be killed by Ning Fan. When he looked into Ning Fan's eyes again, which were filled with monstrous baleful qi, True Flame Yenjin felt his knees go weak. Ning Fan's baleful qi was too strong. How many void fragmentation realm experts did he have to kill to obtain such a powerful baleful qi? Is he really a cultivator of the Rain World? I didn't expect such a powerful devil lord to appear in the Rain World today. Damn it. It wasn't easy for me to cultivate to the 7th Shatterer realm. How can I die here? I can't accept this. Between life and death, True Flame Yenjin's face turned pale. He gritted his teeth and shouted, "If fellow Taoist is willing to show mercy, I am willing to let fellow Taoist plant a restriction on me and serve fellow Taoist as my master." You want to serve me as your master? Ning Fan's eyes flickered. One day, he would ascend to the immortal burial realm. If he ascends, the overall strength of the Rain World would certainly be greatly reduced. If he could subdue some experts of the Celestial Burial Clan and bring them back to the Rain World, it could increase the overall strength of the Rain World. With that thought in mind, Ning Fan slowed down his hand seals. His spirit sense spread out like a tidal wave and went into True Flame Yenjin's sea of consciousness. Of course, he wanted to plant a sense restriction on True Flame Yenjin. True Flame Yenjin did not dare to resist. At this moment he only wanted to live. Even if he has to become a slave, he would accept it. If he really had any backbone, he would not have become a slave of the Celestial Burial Clan in the first place. After planting the sense restriction, Ning Fan withdrew his vortex spatial technique and stood on the tip of the sword. He said coldly to True Flame Yenjin, "Come up and stand at the back. Don't be an eyesore." True Flame Yenjin let out a long sigh and leaped onto the tip of the sword. He stood at the hilt of the sword and did not dare to look at Ning Fan at all. As for the idea of keeping Bright Sparrow as his human cauldron, he no longer dared to think about it. Ning Fan tossed out a large amount of immortal jade and activated the ancient sword to fly again. At the same time, he asked Yenjin coldly, "Are you originally a cultivator of the Fire World? How many cultivators from the 9 realms like you are serving the Deity Burying Clan?" "There are still 29 of them. All of them are at the Void Fragmentation realm and 22 of them are below the 5th Fragmentation realm. Only those in the 5th Demolisher level or higher will have their psychic hexes removed." "Is that so?" Ning Fan's eyes flashed. Those who had yet to dispel the mental restriction were not within the scope of his subjugation. Aside from Master True Flame, there were also 6 cultivators from the 9 realms who were at or above the 5 Shatterer stage. Ning Fan gave it another thought. Not necessarily only the cultivators of the 9 worlds could be subdued. If I encounter members of the Immortal Burial Clan who are above the 5 Break realm, what's the harm in subduing them all? Those who did not surrender would be killed. True Flame Child clenched his teeth and respectfully asked, "Is Master going to enter the 2nd Heaven realm from the 2nd Heaven Gate?" From the memories of the bald man, Ning Fan already knew that the heavenly gates of each level of the Heaven realm had been numbered by the Immortal Burial Clan. "You can't. I suggest Master to go to the 1st Heaven Gate." Even though the 1st Heaven Gate is slightly further away, it's slightly safer. The one guarding the 2nd Heaven Gate is a peak 7th Fragmentation realm old monster of the Immortal Burial Clan. He is proficient in the 5 elements technique and is very powerful. Master True Flame suggested. Now that Ning Fan had planted a psychic hexes on Master True Flame Child, he would die together with Ning Fan if Ning Fan dies. He and Ning Fan were locusts on the same rope. Both of them would rise or fall together. From his point of view, even though Ning Fan was powerful, he might not necessarily be able to defeat that peak 7th fragmentation realm old monster. Even if he could win, he would most likely suffer severe injuries. It was really not worth it. Now that the entire Immortal Burial clan was chasing after the foreign cultivators, if Ning Fan gets injured, he would naturally be in greater danger. There's no need to take a detour. Just go to the second heaven gate. You don't have to say much. What will you do if you want to face a strong enemy? I will kill a strong enemy for Master. Master True Flame sighed. It's good that you understand. Ning Fan gave Master True Flame a cold look. Without saying anything else, he activated the ancient golden sword and sped along the way. For days later, a huge heavenly gate that was as tall as the sky appeared above the sea of clouds. The heavenly gate was black and extremely ancient. However, it was exceptionally sturdy. If the immortal burying race did not open the gate, even a life immortal would not be able to break it. Hundreds of cultivators of the Immortal Burial clan were guarding outside the gate of heaven. Their cultivation levels were all above the soul formation realm. There were a total of 5 void fragmentation realm cultivators. 2 of them were at the 3rd shattering realm, 1 was at the 4th shattering realm, and 1 was at the 5th shattering realm. The last of them was at the peak of the 7th demolisher level, and although he was emaciated, he glittered with the light of the 5 phases. This person's name was Lu Xiu, and he was considered one of the top figures in the Celestial Burial clan. He sat cross-legged on the ground with a 5-colored dagger axe beside him. When the golden sword light that Ning Fan rode approached them, all the members of the Immortal Burial clan raised their heads and roared at the sky. Outsider cultivator, kill. Lu Xiu suddenly grabbed the dagger axe and stood up. He raised the 5-colored dagger axe and sneered. Foreign cultivator, die. The 5-colored dagger axe slashed across the sky, splitting into 5 rays of blade light with different colors, aiming at Ning Fan's head. Ning Fan kept the escaping light of the ancient sword. Before he could make his move, Yan Zhen had already soared into the sky and blocked the 5-colored blade light. He was already Ning Fan's slave. Thus, he naturally needed to show his loyalty. Ning Fan's slightly threatening question was still echoing in his ears. If he encounters a strong enemy, he must fight for Ning Fan with all his might. Void technique, 10 direction vermilion birds. Yan Zhen stood in the sky and performed a hand seal with all 10 of his fingers. Countless flames flew out from his body, turning into the shadows of incomparably huge vermilion birds. These vermilion birds' bodies were condensed from flames. As soon as they appeared, they immediately collided with the 5-colored blade light, trying to destroy it. Lu Xiu's eyes flashed with anger. At this moment, how could he not see that Yan Zhen had already betrayed the Immortal Burial clan and become Ning Fan's slave? The light of the 5 elements revolved around his fingers. Then he performed a hand seal and the 5-colored blade light immediately grew to 10,000 zhang in size. It swept across all directions and easily destroyed the vermilion bird's shadows. Lu Xiu pointed his finger again and the 5-colored blade light slashed at Yan Zhen. Yan Zhen gritted his teeth. His stomach bulged slightly and he opened his mouth to breathe out primordial spirit flames that filled the sky. His face quickly turned pale. Obviously, this technique consumed a lot of his energy. Under the burning of the primordial spirit flames, the golden blade light within the 5-colored blade light was incinerated. However, the remaining 4-colored blade light was not afraid of Yan Zhen's primordial spirit flames at all. It passed through the layers of walls of flames and instantly slashed at Yan Zhen's chest. Yan Zhen's eyes were filled with fear. Just as he was about to be killed by the blade light, a golden vortex suddenly appeared beneath his feet and saved him. At the next moment, a golden vortex appeared on the ancient sword out of nowhere. Yan Zhen staggered and appeared on the ancient sword, luckily escaping from this disaster. Thank you for saving me, Master. Yan Zhen's face revealed a complicated expression. Fire technique isn't something that you can use like this. Ning Fan did not use the soul-extracting incarnation technique. Instead, he only relied on his 6th Destruction Realm cultivation base and stepped into the sky. Every step he took was accompanied by life and death. Life and death follow each other. Master's Tao of life and death is actually so high. Yanjun was shocked. Oh, life and death follow each other, huh? If I kill you and refine you into a pill, I wonder if it can improve my Tao of life and death. Lu Xiu let out a disdainful snort. He changed his hand seals and the golden blade light that had been incinerated reappeared in the sky. He raised his hand and pointed at Ning Fan. The 5-colored blade light slashed at Ning Fan simultaneously. Master, you mustn't underestimate your enemy. This blade light is very powerful. Yanzhen was a little worried. He knew that Ning Fan's combat power could be raised to the peak of the 7 Destruction Realm. However, at this moment, Ning Fan did not use his full combat power. He was only using his 6th Destruction Realm cultivation base to resist the 5-colored blade light. It seemed like a very arrogant action. Am I underestimating my enemy? Ning Fan looked at the incoming golden blade light and raised his hand to grab it. With just a grab, he crushed the golden blade light. With another grab, he crushed the fire blade light. With another grab, he crushed the water blade light. As for the remaining wood and earth blade light, they were all crushed by Ning Fan easily. After the 5 blade lights were destroyed, the dagger axe magic treasure returned to its original form and was easily caught by Ning Fan. With just a swipe of his palm, the power of the 5 elements within the dagger axe was completely destroyed. The power of this treasure was gone. Impossible! He is not at the 7th sky of Nirvana realm. How dare he grab the 5 elements saber light with his hands? Lu Xiu was shocked. It was because Ning Fan possessed the minor 5 elements physique and it had already reached the great perfection realm. No one below the life immortal realm would be able to harm him using the 5 elements technique. If the cultivators here become my slaves, I can guarantee that they won't die. Ning Fan raised his hand and pointed at the heavenly gate. A wave of power of the 5 elements spread out from his body. Immediately, a small and massive barrier of the 5 elements appeared around the heavenly gate. This was an additional mystique that appeared after the completion of the minor 5 elements. Within this minor 5 elemental barrier, no one could use the 5 elemental abilities except for cultivators whose cultivation base was a few realms higher than Ning Fan's. Lu Xiu had spent his entire life studying the 5 elements, and most of his sacred arts were on the 5 elements. Being in the minor 5 elements barrier, almost all of Lu Xiu's divine abilities were sealed, and he was unable to use them. 5 elemental spirit equipment, 5 elemental magical treasures, 5 elemental secret techniques. None of them could be used. He had cultivated a total of 5 nascent divinities, each of which occupied a different path. That was how he had reached the peak of the 7th Demolisher level. At this moment, in the small 5 elements barrier, his cultivation was being sealed bit by bit, and it continued to drop. 6th Heavenly Layer Void Fragmentation Realm, 5th Heavenly Layer, 4th Heavenly Layer, Minor 5 Elements Body. A perfected Lesser 5 Elements Constitution. At this moment, Lu Xiu was afraid. With his cultivation base at the 1st Heavenly Layer of the Void Fragmentation Realm and ordinary abilities that he was not good at, it was impossible for him to defeat Ning Fan at all. Only death awaits him. He was proficient in the cultivation of the 5 elements. Against cultivators at the same level as him who only cultivated 1 element, he would definitely be able to defeat them. However, against someone like Ning Fan who could restrain all 5 elements, he had no chance of winning at all. To be a slave or to die, Lu Xiu was hesitating. However, Ning Fan did not give him too much time to consider. He directly pointed his finger at him. Countless golden whirlpools appeared above the sea of clouds. The immortal burial clan members who were sucked into the whirlpools died instantly. Those who did not die were intentionally killed by Ning Fan. He temporarily trapped them with the spatial vortex technique in an attempt to break Lu Xiu's psychological defense. Elder Lu, how can we, the members of the immortal burial clan, Become the slaves of a mere foreign cultivator? Even if we die, we won't surrender. One of the three old monsters roared furiously. As soon as he finished speaking, he was already sucked into the golden whirlpools and died instantly. Lu Xiu's body shuddered. His face was filled with fear. If I don't surrender, will I end up like this person? Elder Lu, the 7 kings have done us a great favor. Even if we die, we won't betray the immortal burial clan. Am I right? One of the 4 old monsters laughed loudly at the sky. At the next moment he was sucked into the golden whirlpools and died. Lu Xiu's face turned pale. His psychological defense was crumbling bit by bit. The screams of the members of the immortal burial clan did not arouse his courage. Instead, it aroused his fear. He was afraid. I surrender. Master, please plant a mental seal on me. From today onwards, I, Lu Xiu, am no longer a member of the immortal burial clan. I will only be Master's slave. Lu Xiu gritted his teeth and said, Very good. Ning Fan spread out his spirit sense and planted a mental seal in Lu Xiu's sea of consciousness, controlling his life and death. Then, he said to Lu Xiu coldly, You will kill all the enemy cultivators here alone. Lu Xiu's face turned pale. He clenched his teeth and said, Ning Fan removed the minor 5 elements barrier. Lu Xiu's cultivation base rose all the way to the peak 7th element breaking realm. His eyes glinted with ferocity. He made up his mind and shot out 5 colored rays of light from his eyes, turning all the cultivators here into ashes. After that, he kept all the storage pouches and Dao fruits and handed them to Ning Fan. There were still countless storage pouches and Dao fruits in Ning Fan's spatial vortex. However, there was no need for him to collect them in a hurry. The second person. Ning Fan muttered to himself. With a flick of his sleeve, he refined the blood essence of the corpses that littered the ground into beads of blood and sent them to Nieli in his cauldron world. After keeping the ancient golden sword, Ning Fan and Ming Ke walked side by side to the heavenly gate. Behind them were Yan Zhen and Lu Xiu. Yan Zhen and Lu Xiu exchanged glances. Just a moment ago, the two of them were still fighting each other to the death. Now, however, they were both Ning Fan's slaves. The encounters in life really make one sigh endlessly. Ning Fan's gaze fell upon the black heavenly gate. He faintly felt that this gate gave him a strange feeling, but he could not tell why. He placed his palm on the heavenly gate and pushed it. However, he realized that he could not open the gate with his current strength. However, with the Void Sky token, it seemed like passing through this gate would be a piece of cake. The formation plate to open the second heavenly gate is in my hands. I will open the heavenly gate for Master now. Lu Xiu took out a formation plate from his sleeve. Just as he was about to activate it, he was stopped by Ming Quebec. Wait. There are treasures inside the heavenly gate. Brother Biscuit, take a closer look. There really are treasures inside the heavenly gate. Ming Ke returned to her pink and tender fists and punched the heavenly gate repeatedly. Of course, she could not shatter the heavenly gate. She revealed a frustrated expression and sighed. I can't take this treasure away. It's useless to me as well. Forget it. I don't want it anymore. What kind of treasures can be inside the heavenly gate? Lu Xiu and Yan Zhen wore blank expressions. Ning Fan, on the other hand, frowned. Once again, he placed his palm on the heavenly gate and closed his eyes to sense it carefully. Previously, he already felt that the heavenly gate gave him a strange feeling. Now that Ming Ke had reminded him, he naturally wanted to investigate it carefully. Time passed by slowly. Ning Fan did not open his eyes, but his expression became more and more solemn. After a long time, he suddenly opened his eyes and raised his hand. The Emperor Xia's sword appeared in his hand. He displayed the myriad sword style and stood on the heavenly gate with his sword. This sword strike was extremely powerful. It was enough to instantly kill a cultivator at the 5th level of the destruction realm. Even a cultivator at the 6th level of the destruction realm would be severely injured. However, this sword strike only left an almost unnoticeable crack on the heavenly gate. Suddenly, a trace of black starlight flashed across the crack. At the next moment, the crack disappeared. Master, are you trying to shatter the heavenly gate? You should know that even a life-immortal realm expert can't shatter the heavenly gate. Yan Zhen and Lu Xiu shook their heads disapprovingly. At the next moment, their eyes were filled with shock. All of a sudden, Ning Fan's palm glowed with black star power and he grabbed the heavenly gate. As he grabbed, countless traces of stars immediately appeared on the heavenly gate. Then, a black star stone flew out from the heavenly gate. At the next moment, the heavenly gate that even a life-immortal realm expert could not shatter collapsed. It's broken. Master actually shattered the heaven gate. Master Flame Jinzi and Lu Xiu were shocked to the extreme. Even if the 9 ancestors and 18 kings were to join hands, they would not be able to shatter the heavenly gate. Could it be that Ning Fan's strength alone is above the 9 ancestors and 18 kings? Brother Biscuit, you're really powerful. Ming Kei stared at the black star stone in Ning Fan's hand. Her eyes sparkled like little stars. She could tell that this black star stone was a treasure. However, it seemed to be useless to her. What a pity. I didn't expect that there would be black star power left behind by the Heaven Sovereign in the Heavenly Gate. Ning Fan's eyes widened in surprise when he felt the boundless star power in the star stone in his palm. If he refines this black star stone, he would have at least 15 more natal stars. This black star stone was condensed from the Heaven Sovereign's star power. When the Heaven Court still existed, the Heaven Sovereign used his star power to form the Heavenly Gate. Even if the Heavenly Gate is attacked, it could heal itself. After the Heaven Court was destroyed, this gate still existed. However, no one could extract the star power from it. Even if they destroy this gate, they would not be able to extract it. Only those who have cultivated the Black Star technique could obtain the star power within it. In this era, Ning Fan was the only one who had cultivated the Black Star art in this world. Ning Fan made a rough calculation. There were 2 heavenly gates in the first level of the heaven world, 3 in the second level and 4 in the third level. Based on this calculation, there were a total of 560 heavenly gates from the first to the 32nd day. If there is a black star stone in each of the heavenly gates, with 560 black star stones, he could form a total of 8,400 natal stars. Currently, Ning Fan had formed 212 natal black stars. If he could obtain all the star stones in this place and refine them all, with 100 natal black stars, he could survive the joint attack of a Void Glimpse stage expert. With 1,000 natal black stars, he could survive the joint attack of a Void Glimpse stage expert. With 10,000 natal black stars, he could survive the joint attack of an ordinary life immortal realm expert. With 8,612 natal black stars, he could survive the joint attack of a rogue immortal realm expert. Brother Biscuit, are we going to the second level of the heaven world now? We are going to the first heavenly gate in the first level of the heaven world. Although it will take some time, if we can obtain enough black star stones, the difficulty of killing the 33 heavens will be greatly reduced. Chapter 677. 7 days later, Ning Fan annihilated the group of cultivators who were guarding the first heavenly gate and destroyed the heavenly gate, taking away the star stones. Another 15 days passed. The 3 heavenly gates of the second heaven realm were destroyed by Ning Fan one after another, and he subdued a 6 shattering realm slave. In another month, the 4 heavenly gates of the third heaven realm were destroyed. The 4th heaven realm, the 5th heaven realm, the 6th heaven realm. It had been a year since Ning Fan entered the ancient heavenly court. He had already reached the 12th level of the heaven realm. The 13 heavenly gates were destroyed by him one after another. Currently, he was cultivating at the first heavenly gate of this level. He already had 90 black star stones in his hand. There were already 7 servants behind him. Among them, Lu Xiu and Yanjin were at the 7 shattering realm, 3 of them were at the 6 shattering realm and 2 of them were at the 5 shattering realm. Among them, there were void fragmentation realm cultivators of the 9 worlds who had once surrendered to the immortal burial clan. There were also experts of the immortal burial clan. However, they were just considered as Ning Fan's slaves now. Along the way to the 12th level of the heaven realm, Ning Fan had killed more than 100 Void Fragmentation Realm cultivators of the Immortal Burial Clan. As for the Divine Transformation Realm and Void Refinement Realm cultivators, there were countless of them. Even so, the 9 ancestors and 18 kings of the Immortal Burial Clan did not show up to kill Ning Fan. However, it did not mean that they did not hold a grudge against Ning Fan. "Brother Biscuit, can I ask you for a few slaves to search for treasures in the 12th level of the Heaven Realm?" Ming Ke asked expectantly. In the 12th level of the Heaven Realm, there were many treasures but also more dangers. Other than the members of the Immortal Burial Clan, there were also demon beasts and devil beasts at the 5 Shattering Realm and 6 Shattering Realm. The current Ming Ke could not defeat ferocious beasts of this level. She looked at Lu Xiao and Yen Zhen with a smile, wanting to borrow them and bring them with her to search for treasures. After all, Ning Fan still needed to cultivate here, didn't he? Don't leave my side. If the 9 ancestors and 18 kings suddenly appear, they won't be able to protect you. Then lend me Big Head to play with. Ming Ke pleaded. Even Big Head might not be able to protect you. You're close to breaking through to the 2nd broken level, and you haven't finished eating the spirit herbs we found this time. There's no need to rush. The spirit herbs we found along the way are enough for you to eat. Ming Ke lowered her head and took out a potato-like spiritual herb and started chewing on it. It didn't take long for him to eat and drink to his heart's content. Feeling much better, he took out a jade mat and laid down on it, snoring away. Lu Xiao and the others were shocked when they saw Bright Sparrow eating the spiritual herbs raw. He thought to himself that Bright Sparrow's physical body was so terrifying that it could withstand the energy of the spiritual medicine directly. When he looked at Ning Fan again, he was even more shocked. At this moment, Ning Fan was devouring star stones one after another. The star power in his body was not released, but it was extremely vast. Ning Fan continuously made hand seals and refined the star stones according to the Traversing Star Palace's route recorded in the Cold Star Secret Record. The refining speed was naturally extremely fast. Master actually knows the cultivation star cultivation method. It's truly unbelievable. Lu Xiao and the others exclaimed in admiration. As the star stones were refined, the number of natal stars in his body gradually increased. 227, 242, 257, 272, as long as he refines all 90 star stones, the number of natal stars in Ning Fan's body would exceed 1,000. At that time, the injuries caused by the attack of the Shattering One cultivator would be healed instantly. 90 star stones. I still need a few days to fully refine all of them. Ning Fan closed his eyes and quietly refined the star power in his body. In each of the first 27 floors, there was a top-secret forbidden area. In each of the forbidden areas, one of the 9 ancestors and 18 kings was in seclusion. At this moment, the expressions of the 9 ancestors and 18 kings were dark and gloomy. According to the intelligence, a foreign cultivator had swept through the first 12 floors of the Heaven Realm. Most of the members of the Immortal Burial Clan who were sent to kill him were killed. Moreover, this person seemed to have great abilities as he destroyed all the heavenly gates of the 12th floor of the Heaven Realm. This person captured a total of 7 experts of the Immortal Burial Clan alive and made them his slaves. To the Immortal Burial Clan who regarded foreign cultivators as ants, this was a great humiliation. Lu Xiao actually betrayed us too. Damn it. I wasted a profound corpse pill to help him break through his cultivation level in the past. In the 12th floor of the Heaven Realm, the 7 kings were enraged. He could not wait to leave the Immortal Cave immediately to kill Ning Fan, who was in the 12th floor of the Heaven Realm. However, the matter of resurrecting the primogenitor was too important for him to leave. His voice passed through the blood marks on the ground and reached the ears of the other ancestral kings. The other ancestral kings were enraged. They wished they could tear Ning Fan into pieces. A mere foreign cultivator actually dared to kill members of our Immortal Burial Clan and even made them his slaves. What a great humiliation! In the 19th floor of the Heaven Realm, the 9th ancestor said angrily. 3rd ancestor, There seems to be a rogue devil corpse devil above the 25th floor of the heaven realm, right? Why don't you send him out to kill that foreign cultivator? The 6 kings suggested. That rogue devil corpse devil was injured by an unknown rogue immortal. He is currently recuperating in the corpse devil pool. He won't be able to fight for a while. The 3rd ancestor said angrily. What? A rogue immortal went up to the 25th floor of the heaven realm. The few ancestral kings were shocked. He didn't go up, he went down. That rogue immortal came from above the 28th floor. He might be a cultivator of the 4 heavens. The 1st ancestor who had been silent all this while suddenly spoke. So what if he's a cultivator of the 4 heavens? That rogue immortal has already reached the 15th floor. I raised a large number of void fragmentation realm demon beasts in this floor of the heaven realm, but they were all killed by him alone. How hateful! The 4 kings said angrily. These foreign cultivators are too hateful. If the ancestor of ancient Zong wakes up, I will definitely ask him to kill all the foreign cultivators in this place. The 9 kings said coldly. These foreign cultivators won't be able to be arrogant for long. We just need to endure for another 10 years. 10 years later, when the ancestor wakes up, with his cultivation base at the quasi-emperor realm, who in the ancient heavenly court can be his match? 10 years. I just need to wait for another 10 years. After refining all of the star stones, the number of natal stars in Ning Fan's body had reached 1680. It was 18 stars more than what he had expected. Ning Fan exhaled a mouthful of murky qi and stood up. His eyes shone with starlight. The various injuries in his body were healing at a rapid speed. At this moment, he could even withstand the attacks of a group of cultivators without dying. Ming Ke stared at Ning Fan in a daze. She was so shocked that she could not close her mouth. She stood beside Ning Fan and noticed that a void fragmentation realm sword wound on his arm was healing at an astonishing speed. She could not help but grab Ning Fan's arm and bite it, leaving a small wound on his arm. Before the wound began to bleed, it had already healed itself in the blink of an eye. Not even a scar was left. She took another bite and the wound healed again. She took another bite and the wound healed again. Ning Fan looked at Ming Ke speechlessly. He patted her head and scolded her with a smile. Are you going to eat me like a spiritual herb? I can't bear to eat you. I'm just doing an experiment. Brother Biscuit, what kind of star technique is this? It's much more powerful than the cold star secret record that you gave me. I want to learn this. Ming Ke grabbed Ning Fan's arm and shook it, begging him. You won't be able to learn this technique. It was a complete coincidence that I was able to cultivate the black star technique. As soon as Ning Fan finished speaking, his brows suddenly knitted together. His heartbeat suddenly quickened without any warning. It was a sign that danger was approaching. He looked at the destroyed heavenly gate in silence. The danger was coming from the upper levels. However, the danger did not seem to be coming specifically for him. Ning Fan looked at Ming Ke beside him and remained silent for a while. Then, he took out the ancient golden sword and led everyone to the passage behind the heavenly gate, arriving at the 13th level of the heaven realm. When they arrived at this place, the sense of danger he felt became stronger. 1 month later, all the 14 heavenly gates of the 13th level of the heaven realm were destroyed. Ning Fan and his group arrived at the 14th level of the heaven realm. After killing a group of invading experts, Ning Fan obtained the map of the 14th level and flew towards one of the heavenly gates. The guards of this heavenly gate were 3 short old men at the 8th break realm. Other than the 3 old men, there were also thousands of experts of the immortal burial clan standing in a formation. The 3 old men stood at the peak of the Sea of Clouds, quietly waiting for Ning Fan's arrival. From the information they already knew, they knew that Ning Fan had the strange ability to destroy the heavenly gates. Thus, he was not to be underestimated. Every time Ning Fan arrived at a level of the heaven realm, he would definitely go to all the heavenly gates. As long as they wait here, Ning Fan would definitely come. If they see Ning Fan, they must kill him. At a certain moment, the 3 old men opened their sharp eyes. In the sky, a ray of golden sword light instantly traversed thousands of li and appeared outside the heavenly gates. On the sword light, there were Lu Xiu and the other 6 people who had surrendered. There was also Ming Ke, who was a foodie who did not know the immensity of heaven and earth while chewing on spiritual herbs. There was also a white-robed young man with cold eyes. At the moment when the sword light arrived, everyone's eyes were focused on the white-robed young man. The 3 of us are the subordinates of the 5 kings. Since you are already here, there's no need for you to leave. Get into formation. As soon as the 3 old men gave their orders, thousands of members of the Immortal Burial Clan immediately held a gourd magic tool in their hands. The gourd emitted a towering corpse chi and formed a sinister formation diagram in the sky. Ning Fan and his group were at the center of the formation diagram. Not good. This is the corpse disintegration grand formation of the Immortal Burial Clan. In ancient times, this formation was originally created by cultivators who wanted to disintegrate their corpses and become immortals. However, since ancient times, how many people could disintegrate their corpses and become immortals? Almost all those who are trapped in this formation will die. Lu Xiu and the others exclaimed in shock. The surroundings were filled with extremely dense corpse chi which contained boundless corpse poison. Even Lu Xiu and the other Immortal Burial Clan experts who had cultivated corpse techniques did not dare to face this corpse chi head-on to resist this corpse poison. Corpse disintegration grand formation? Huh? Ning Fan's eyes turned slightly solemn when he sensed the corpse chi that was spreading into the sky from the grand formation. If he had already completed the 3rd corpse transformation, he would have a small chance of becoming an immortal with the help of this formation. But now, if he falls into the formation diagram, he would certainly be in a situation where he would most likely die. The only way was to break this formation before it was completely formed. The key to this formation was the corpse chi formation. As long as the corpse chi is taken away, the formation would collapse on its own. Devour! Ning Fan opened his mouth and swallowed all the corpse chi that filled the sky into his stomach. The formation diagram beneath his feet gradually dimmed and eventually disappeared without a trace. The expressions of the thousands of Immortal Burial Clan experts who laid out the formation changed at the moment the formation was broken. They suffered a heavy backlash and were forced to retreat in the vast sky. The eyes of the 3 Shattering Realm old men were gloomy, but they were not surprised. They did not expect to eliminate Ning Fan with just a formation in the first place. As expected, they still needed to do it themselves in order to kill Ning Fan. The 2 Shattering Realm old men on both sides remained silent. Each of them took a step back and performed hand seals with their 10 fingers. Their chi weakened rapidly and began to fall towards the 6th Shattering Realm. As for the 8 Shattering Realm old man in the middle, his aura force rose sharply and his cultivation base rose to the peak of the 8th Shattering Realm in an instant. All of you retreat. I alone am enough to deal with this place. The old man stepped on the sea of clouds and walked towards Ning Fan step by step. He sneered. My surname is Chen. You must remember this and be an understanding ghost. Chi old man Chen's figure suddenly disappeared from his spot. At the next moment, he appeared beside Ming Ke. He grinned, revealing his white teeth. With his eyesight, he could already tell that Ming Ke was a pill devil. A pill devil was extremely beneficial to the resurrection of the 1st floor of the heaven realm. He began to understand why Ning Fan would attack the bald muscular man from the 1st floor of the heaven realm. That bald muscular man must have noticed Ming Ke's identity as a pill devil and wanted to snatch her away. That was why he was killed by Ning Fan. I won't stand on ceremony and accept this pill devil then. Old Man Chen extended his large hand and grabbed Ming Ke, who was beside him. At this moment, a golden vortex suddenly appeared beneath her feet and she disappeared without a trace in an instant. At the next moment, Ming Ke appeared in Ning Fan's arms. He gently put her down and shielded her behind his back. I didn't want to attack the Immortal Burial Clan at first. You have only yourself to blame for all of this. As soon as Ning Fan gave the order, Lu Xiu and the other 6 experts attacked at the same time. They summoned their magic treasures and attacked Old Man Chen. Old Man Chen's eyes flickered. With his current cultivation base, It was not easy for him to block the attacks from Lu Xiu and the other 6 experts at such a close distance. With a leap, he got off the ancient sword and increased the distance between them. Then he raised his finger and pointed at them continuously, blocking the attacks from the 7 magic treasures one by one. Lu Xiu and the others also got off the ancient sword and controlled their magic treasures to fight against Old Man Chen. Old Man Chen's eyes turned cold. He grabbed at the clouds and shouted, "Evil creatures, why are you still not coming out to help us?" As soon as he gave the order, a 30,000 zhang giant toad suddenly flew out from the lower layer of the sea of clouds. The toad's cultivation base had already reached the peak of the 8th heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. It was only a step away from attaining the 9th heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. Old Man Chen leaped backwards and stood on the giant toad's body. He stared coldly at Lu Xiu and the others and ordered, "Cooperate with me and use the corrosive killing technique. Do you hear me?" Roar. The giant toad let out a loud roar as a response to Old Man Chen's request. Old Man Chen performed hand seals with all 10 of his fingers. The corpse chi around his body rose rapidly. The giant toad opened its mouth and breathed out a poisonous mist that covered the sky. When the corpse chi and the poisonous mist fused, Old Man Chen's hand seals suddenly changed. An extremely terrifying aura force shot out from his eyes. Immortal technique, corrosive killing technique. The dark green light suddenly dispersed. All of a sudden, Lu Xiu and the others showed a look of despair. Immortal technique. Immortal technique. Even if the 7 of them used their full strength, they would not be able to block this immortal technique. All 7 of them looked at Ning Fan. From their point of view, if there was anyone in this place who could block this immortal technique, it would most likely be Ning Fan. After all of Ning Fan's abilities were world-shocking. He most likely had some trump cards that could block this immortal technique. People who are about to die, remember that my surname is Chen. Old Man Chen sneered. He sat cross-legged on the head of the toad, waiting for Ning Fan and the others to be corroded to death by the corrosive poison. Ning Fan's hand was already placed on the devil's sealing pouch. Both Old Man Chen and this giant toad were not people he could defeat. Big Head, do it. I'm not Big Head. A devil roar suddenly swept across the vast sky. The green light that filled the sky was instantly shattered. A cloud of devil mist soared into the sky, turning into a gigantic devil creature. A rogue devil. The rogue devil blew a huge breath and all the poisonous mist that filled the sky was blown away. His cold gaze swept across Lu Xiu and the others. Then, it scanned through the cultivators of the immortal burying clan. Finally, it stopped at Old Man Chen and the giant toad. Lu Xiu and the others were both surprised and delighted. Their master really has a way to block the immortal technique. A rogue devil. It's actually a rogue devil. Their master has actually taken a rogue devil as his slave. Even a rogue devil is Ning Fan's slave. Being Ning Fan's slaves is really not that bad. What? It's actually a rogue devil? Not good. Old Man Chen's face was filled with shock. In the next moment, he was already severely injured by the rogue devil's punch. Why are you so shocked? Are you really surprised to see my head getting bigger? Puff! Old Man Chen suffered a furious punch from the rogue devil. His primordial spirit was nearly shattered. He lost his balance and fell off the toad's head. His body was invaded by the rogue devil's devil mist. His chi could not recover within a short period of time and he could not use any magic power. Blink, blink, blink. He took out a jade slip and was about to crush it. It was a teleportation jade slip. It could teleport 1 billion li away instantly. It was a supreme treasure for escaping. The rogue devil sneered and threw a punch, directly shattering Old Man Chen's jade slip and inflicting another serious injury on him. After the 2 punches landed, Old Man Chen was already on the verge of death. He looked at the rogue devil who was approaching him step by step with extreme fear. He wanted to escape but he could not use any magic power. The loose demon grabbed Old Man Chen in his hand and looked at him very seriously. He asked solemnly, "Tell me, isn't my head big?" "I don't know, motherfucker. How dare you say you don't know?" Bang! Old Man Chen was an 8-shatter realm expert of his generation. He had even used a secret technique to raise his cultivation base to the peak of the 8-shatter realm. However, he was smashed into a mist of blood by the rogue devil. At the moment when the rogue devil attacked Old Man Chen, Ning Fan had already ordered Lu Xiao and the others to surround and kill the remaining members of the Zhang Xian clan. The two old men at the 8-shatter realm had already used a secret technique. Their cultivation base had already fallen to the 6th shatter realm. To Lu Xiao and the others, it was not difficult to kill them. He did not kill them himself. Instead, he stayed by Ming Kei's side to protect her. There was always a hint of uneasiness in his heart. That uneasiness was telling him not to leave Ming Kei's side. "Master, what should we do with this little frog? Should we roast it and eat it?" With just a punch, the rogue devil knocked the giant toad to the ground and asked Ning Fan. That giant toad's body was trembling when it faced the rogue devil. It looked at Ning Fan with fear and let out a few low roars. Its roars seemed to be saying that it was willing to submit to Ning Fan and beg him to spare its life. Without saying a word, Ning Fan spread out his spirit sense and planted a demon's seal on the toad. He had subdued this unusually ferocious giant beast. On the other side, Lu Xiao and the others had also killed the thousands of members of the Zhang Xian clan. Among the two old men at the 8-shatter realm, one of them would rather die than surrender and was killed. The other one was willing to submit, and Ning Fan planted a mental seal on him. Even when he was planting the mental seal, Ning Fan still maintained his full vigilance. He could sense that an enemy was lurking not far away from him. That enemy was the source of his uneasiness. "Master, this subordinate is truly convinced by you this time. You can even subdue a rogue devil as your servant." "That's a rogue devil." Lu Xiao and the others were amazed. Rogue devil old monsters were all on the same level as the 9 ancestors and 18 kings. Such people were naturally arrogant. If it wasn't because they had no other choice, why would they be willing to be someone else's slave? Ning Fan was really too powerful to be able to subdue a rogue devil. Ning Fan just casually responded to the compliments and flattery from the crowd. His eyes coldly scanned the surroundings. All of a sudden, his heart was filled with warning signs. He quickly rode the ancient golden sword and flew 10,000 zhang away with Bright Sparrow. At the place where he was originally standing, a middle-aged rogue immortal appeared. He looked at Ning Fan with a hint of surprise. "What a vigilant kid. Moreover, you can even subdue a rogue devil as your servant. No wonder you could turn the immortal burial clan upside down." At the next moment, the middle-aged rogue immortal's killing intent was suddenly revealed. "However, if you want to go against my pill sect, these are still not enough. Hand over the pill devil behind you and I can spare your life. I will only give you 3 breaths of time to consider. These 3 breaths of time are all thanks to your rogue devil. However, if you really provoke me, I won't need to spend too much effort to kill you." This rogue immortal was from the pill sect. His target was Bright Sparrow. Chapter 678. It was a middle-aged loose immortal in alchemy robes. He had a skinny face and a harsh and merciless smile. He was from the Dan sect and his name was Chang Shan. He had entered the Heaven Court to collect ghosts and bring back Bright Sparrow. Chang Shan looked at Bright Sparrow who was behind Ning Fan and licked his lips. Then he looked at Ning Fan and sneered without saying a word. The reason why he gave Ning Fan 3 breaths of time to consider and did not attack him right away was just because he was slightly afraid of Ning Fan's rogue devil. Apart from the scattered devil, who was somewhat difficult to deal with, there was no one else here that Chang Shan would take seriously. If not for the rogue devil, Chang Shan was confident that he could kill everyone here within 10 breaths. Even if there was a loose demon here, Chang Shan still had a way to kill everyone here, including the loose demon. However, in order to do so, he would need to use some trump cards. If it was not necessary, Chang Shan did not want to rashly use his trump card. If Ning Fan is sensible enough to hand over Ming Kei, he would be able to save himself a lot of trouble. People of the pill sect, huh? Ning Fan's face darkened. The person who schemed against Bright Sparrow back then was the sect leader of the alchemy sect. It was obvious that Changshan was sent by the sect leader of the alchemy sect. If he didn't take Bright Sparrow away, he wouldn't give up. As for Ning Fan, it was impossible for him to push Bright Sparrow into the fire pit and hand her over to this person. Biscuit brother? For the first time in her life, Bright Sparrow revealed an expression of fear. He wasn't afraid of Changshan, the pill sect, or the pill sect's sect master. That fear came from the depths of his soul. She was an alchemy devil created by the alchemy sect's sect master. There seemed to be a voice in her soul that was bewitching her, telling her not to go against the alchemy sect. Don't be afraid, I'm here. Lucius, take these men and stand down. Big head tech. Ning Fan did not think about whether to hand over Ming Ke or not. He directly used his actions to tell Changshan his decision. Lu Xiao and the others retreated to the side with the toad and the old man. The rogue devil pointed at the sparrow arrogantly and spat at Changshan. Do you know who she is? She is my master's wife, my mistress. If this old man's master is really a coward and hands mistress over to her, wouldn't he be wearing a big green hat? Even this old man will lose face. You want to take my mistress away? Ask my fist first. As soon as the scattered demon's voice fell, Changshan's eyes suddenly turned cold. His figure instantly disappeared and reappeared in front of the scattered demon. With a point of his finger, tens of thousands of illusory pills immediately appeared. All the pill phantoms exploded in an instant, forming a destructive magic power storm that engulfed the loose devil. You talk too much and are full of loopholes. You're going to die. Changshan said disdainfully. As a loose devil, his intelligence was actually so poor. He even dared to spout nonsense when facing the enemy. It was truly laughable. In a true life and death battle, there was no time for nonsense. He did not see the moment the loose devil was engulfed by the storm of magic power. He revealed a treacherous smile that a series of explosions rang out in the sky. The explosions were enough to instantly kill a cultivator of the eight-shattering realm. On the surface, it seemed like the rogue devil was definitely going to die after being ambushed by Changshan when he was defenseless. Suddenly, a huge skull made of black mist flew out of the storm and swallowed Changshan in one gulp. Changshan's eyes widened as he was swallowed by the rogue demon. Ha! Do you think I'll leave an opening for you? Who do you think I am? Refine. The skull laughed loudly. It forcefully activated the devil mist in its body, trying to refine and kill Changshan in one go. I have underestimated you. Devil extermination pill. Changshan, who was inside the skull, took out a golden pill and swallowed it. It was a peak 7th revolution pill called the devil extermination pill. The moment he swallowed the pill, his body suddenly grew to 50,000 zhang in size. He forcefully broke through the skull's mouth and broke free. Changshan's body shone with a dazzling golden light. Golden armor covered his body, making him look like a golden-armored heavenly god. The skull let out a muffled groan and turned into black mist that dissipated. Then, it condensed into a huge devil with 2 horns. A trace of black blood flowed out from the corner of its mouth. The loose devil let out a cold snort. Its body grew to 50,000 zhang in size and confronted Changshan from afar. Ning Fan's eyes turned extremely solemn at that moment. Devil extermination pill. An auxiliary-type pill. The effect of the pill was to give the user a trace of devil extermination golden light within 2 hours. When Changshan first appeared, his strength was just slightly stronger than the rogue devil. However, after consuming the pill, his strength was already 30% higher than the rogue devil. When the pill cultivators of the pill ancestor realm fight, they would usually consume a large number of auxiliary pills to increase their strength. If one thinks that the pill refinement masters of the 4 heavens were weak, then they would be gravely mistaken. Void technique, divine pill rain. Changshan sneered and pointed at the rogue devil. Immediately, countless golden raindrops fell from the sky. If one takes a closer look, they would realize that each of the golden raindrops was a pill of a high grade. The rogue devil looked at the sky full of pill rain with a solemn expression. However, he did not show any fear. He had even fought against a life-immortal realm expert before. Why would he be afraid of Changshan? Alright, even though he was just a bystander in the battle between the life-immortal realm experts, the rogue devil channeled all of his devil chi into his fist. Without saying a word, he threw hundreds of punches at the sky, shattering the golden pill rain one after another. Pill slash. Changshan's eyes suddenly turned cold. Countless golden pill rain that was shattered suddenly condensed into a gigantic golden sword light. With an unbelievable speed, the sword slashed the rogue devil into half. The rogue devil is dead. Lu Xiao and the others were so shocked that their faces turned pale. Isn't this Changshan a little too powerful? He can even kill a loose devil. Nonsense. How can I die so easily? The two halves of the rogue devil suddenly dispersed into devil mist and reformed into a giant devil body. Although he refused to show any weakness, his body was indeed injured by the Dao pill. This medicine jar is really powerful. The rogue devil murmured in his heart. He's still alive? This rogue devil is really out of my expectation. He's much more powerful than the one from the immortal burial clan. In that case, I'm afraid I'll have to use more pills to win. Fire-suppressing pill, battle pill. At the same time, Changshan took out 2 peak 7th revolution pills and consumed them. In an instant, his magic power increased by 30% and his body was filled with fire chi. At this moment, he could almost defeat the rogue devil with his strength. Immortal technique, fire refining starry sky. Changshan calmly pointed his finger. The sky within 10 million miles was instantly set ablaze. Hundreds of burning meteorites fell on the rogue devil's head. His expression changed drastically. If he was hit by these meteorites, he would be severely injured even if he was not burned to ashes. Damn it! This medicine jar is really against the rules. After consuming the medicine, his strength is much stronger than mine. The rogue devil gritted his teeth. He infused his devil chi into his fist and threw hundreds of punches at the sky. This time, he only managed to shatter half of the meteorites. He did not have the strength to shatter the remaining half. Not good. I'm going to be hit. Just as the rogue devil was about to turn into devil mist to reduce his injuries, a golden sword light suddenly flashed in front of him. It was Ning Fan and Ming Quebec. Without saying a word, Ning Fan raised his hand and summoned a 30,000 zhang tall monument. The power of the giant monument was only at the 5 destruction realm. However, it was born to be the nemesis of fire. Thus, it was naturally not afraid of these ordinary burning meteorites. The giant monument smashed through all the meteorites in the sky and turned them into ashes. He then made another hand seal and all the sea of fire within 10 million li was absorbed into the monument. After that, Ning Fan calmly kept the monument shadow and looked at Changshan with a solemn expression, as if he was making a decision. This Changshan is very powerful. The rogue devil is no match for him, master. The rogue devil was stunned. He was saved by Ning Fan once again. Oh? You can withstand my incomplete immortal technique? Changshan revealed a surprised expression. Then he sneered. It seems like you are going to attack me together with this rogue devil. If that's the case, I really have to use my final trump card. I originally didn't want to consume this pill. Changshan took out a low-grade 8 revolution pill and swallowed it. The moment he swallowed it, his body suddenly split into 2. Low-grade 8 revolution shadow cracking pill. It could split a shadow of the same grade from his body to assist him. This pill was also effective for life-immortal realm cultivators. However, this pill also had a weakness. If the main body dies, the shadow would naturally die as well. After all, the shadow was not the real second primordial spirit. One Changshan turned into 2 Changshans. One Changshan was enough to crush the rogue devil. With 2 Changshans here, who could survive? Lu Xiao and the others revealed a look of despair. They knew that there was no way for them to survive today. It was already impossible for them to betray and surrender to Changshan now. After all, Ning Fan had planted a mental seal on them. If he dies, they would certainly die. How could they surrender? Master, we can't defeat him. I have a secret technique of the Devil Dao that can activate the speed of a life-immortal realm expert for a short period of time. I'll bring all of you out of this place. The rogue devil gritted his teeth and transmitted his voice to Ning Fan. If Ning Fan dies, he would also die. Naturally, he wanted Ning Fan to live for a long time. Ning Fan shook his head and rejected the rogue devil's suggestion. We can't escape. Since this person could find Ming Ke all the way here, he probably has some methods to track her whereabouts. We can escape today. However, after we get out of the ancient heavenly court, we will still be entangled by the Pill sect. Unless Ning Fan hands Ming Ke over to the Pill sect, only then can this disaster be resolved. However, Ning Fan would never do such a thing. Moreover, he still had to go to the 33 heavens. If he escapes from the ancient heavenly court just like that, how could he revive Mu Whaleyang? He will not escape. Ning Fan's eyes flashed with cold light. He seemed to have made up his mind. Si Wuxie had told him to rush up to the 33 heavens regardless of everything. Today, he must do it without any hesitation. He locked his killing intent on one of the two Changshans. That person was Changshan's true body. As long as I kill this person, I will be considered to have passed this tribulation. Oh, look at your eyes. Do you still want to resist me? The eyes of the two Changshans turned grim at the same time. They were about to attack and kill Ning Fan. At the next moment, the expressions of the two Changshans changed greatly. Ning Fan flicked his sleeve and the Emperor Xia sword appeared in his hand. He held the golden sword in his hand. What floated around his body was no longer golden sword intent but layers of blood-red light. His physical body seemed like it was about to turn into specks of dust and dissipate. His eyes, however, were filled with madness. An extremely terrifying blood-red sword light was brewing on Ning Fan's sword. Changshan did not know what kind of sword technique Ning Fan was using. He faintly felt that if he uses this sword technique, he would certainly die. With this young man's cultivation base, it's impossible for him to use such a terrifying sword technique. He must have to pay a huge price to use this sword technique. He wants to perish together with me. He's just a pill devil. Why would he go to this extent just to protect a pill devil? Hold on. I remember now. The Bingjie sect. It's the Bingjie sect. Changshan's face suddenly turned pale. The name of an extremely crazy sword sect suddenly appeared in his mind. The Bingjie sect was a sword sect in the Western Heaven Immortal world. Its sect master's cultivation base was just at the transcending truth realm. However, even the cultivators from the shedding void realm would not dare to provoke the Bingjie sect. If the sect master of the Bingjie sect disintegrates his soul and condenses it into sword light, he would be able to kill his enemies with a single slash. Every time the war between the four heavens and the demon spirit land took place, the disciples of the Bingjie sect would always rush to the front lines. They would self-destruct their physical bodies in a suicidal attack to kill the experts of the demon race. Tens of thousands of disciples of the Bingjie sect would self-destruct their physical bodies at the same time. That kind of terrifying scene had once shocked Changshan. He recognized it. Ning Fan's sword technique was very similar to the sword technique of the Bingjie sect. Ning Fan was really going to self-destruct and perish together with him. A slightly dissatisfied female voice suddenly resounded beside Ning Fan's ears. The fragrance of the lady entered Ning Fan's nose. It was actually very familiar. The lady's delicate palm was placed on Ning Fan's hand that was holding the sword. She slowly calmed the chaotic sword chi in his body. She wore white robes that were spotless and her face was covered with a light veil. Suddenly, she looked at Changshan coldly and waved her sleeve at him. Her seemingly soft sleeve suddenly traveled across a great distance. Like a falling mountain, it crushed Changshan's shadow with a single strike. She waved her long sleeve and pointed at Ning Fan with a gentle finger. Her index finger was as green as a spring onion, but it seemed to contain boundless power. A ray of seven-colored finger light touched Changshan's chest. Changshan's expression immediately changed. At the next moment, he was sent flying backwards while coughing out blood. He stared at the lady in white with extreme shock. Kunlun Jade Pool. Damn it. This young man actually has such a strong reinforcement. If that's the case, I can only retreat temporarily and wait for an opportunity. Chang Shan forcefully swallowed the blood in his throat. Then he took out a silver pill and swallowed it in one go. In an instant, his body turned into a ray of silver light and fled far away. His speed was infinitely close to that of a life immortal. No one here could catch up with him. He did not escape from the ancient heavenly court. Instead, he found a secluded place to heal his injuries before plotting to capture the Pill Devil. He might not be a match for the Lady in White, but if he could take the Pill Devil by surprise and escape, his chances of success were still very high. We're saved. Who is that fairy? She's so beautiful. Lu Xiao and the others widened their eyes. They could sense an inviolable, sacred beauty from the woman in white. She wouldn't allow anyone to blaspheme or insult her. She had an innate dignity that stood above millions of people. She stood aloof from the world, far away from the world. No man could touch her. Cece? Aren't you in the 33 heavens? Why did you come to the lower heaven realm? Ning Fan was stunned and looked at the lady in white. That lady was Si Wuxia. She was supposed to unseal the undying tree in the 33 heavens, but she came to the lower heaven realm. You've already stirred up great chaos in the immortal burial clan. If I didn't come, what should I do if you die in the hands of the 9 ancestors and 18 kings? Si Wuxia's tone was cold and unapproachable. This time, she came to the lower heaven realm with her clone. However, this clone had the cultivation base of a half-step life immortal. Are you worried about me so you came to help me? Ning Fan asked with a smile. Don't misunderstand. I just don't want you to die. After all, you're the key to resurrecting her. Why aren't you leaving? With me following you this time, you should be able to reach the 33 heavens earlier. Si Wuxia's tone sounded impatient, but her eyes were filled with surprise. She didn't expect that he had already broken through to the 6th heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm after just a few decades. Who is this sister? Is she also Brother Biscuit's confidant? Ming Ke looked at Ning Fan with a smile. Don't talk nonsense. I no longer have any relationship with him. Si Wuxia's eyes were cold. She glanced at Ming Ke indifferently and frowned. Pill Devil physique, immemorial dark sparrow's blood. This little girl in front of me isn't simple. Did that rogue immortal of the Pill sect come to snatch this little girl? Did he offend the Pill sect again? He really knows how to cause trouble. This is also my mistress? I never thought that I would have such a powerful mistress. The rogue immortal was shocked. He knew how powerful Chang Shan was. Even someone as powerful as Chang Shan was repelled by Si Wuxia after using all his means. Moreover, this Si Wuxia seemed to be just a clone. How strong is her true body? Master is too capable. He even dares to accept such a powerful woman. Chapter 679. Ning Fan and Ming Ke stood side by side on the tip of the ancient golden sword. Si Wuxia stood alone at the side, letting her hair flutter in the wind. She occasionally stroked her hair with a cold expression, not giving Ning Fan any chance to get close to her. Behind the ancient sword was a giant toad. Lu Xiao and the other void fragmentation experts were sitting on the back of the toad, following closely behind the ancient sword. The speed of the ancient sword was comparable to a rogue immortal. The toad couldn't catch up. The rogue devil revealed an impatient expression. He waved his hand, rolling up waves of devil mist. He carried the toad, Lu Xiao and the others and chased after the ancient sword. Along the way, he kept flattering Ning Fan. Master, can you teach me some secret techniques? What secret? Ning Fan's eyelids twitched slightly and asked in surprise. The secret of capturing the hearts of women. Master has so many women. I think you must know this very well. Please teach me some of your experiences. The rogue devil rode on the devil mist and rubbed his hands with a wretched expression. He thought that if he learned Ning Fan's secret technique of picking up girls, with his ability, he would be able to woo a fate immortal girl in the future. Perhaps, Ning Fan would be threatened by the fate immortal girl and return his freedom. On the path of cultivation, one must be courageous and diligent. However, if one is tired of struggling, finding a good woman and saving him tens of thousands of years of struggle was also a good choice. Ning Fan looked at the rogue devil speechlessly. How could he not see through the devil's thoughts? They were all written on his face. He shook his head and didn't answer the devil's question. He didn't have any technique of picking up women. To be honest, not all the women under his protection had deep feelings for him. For example, the female guards, Nalan Z and the other women. This was a chaotic world. It wasn't a beautiful world for scholars and beauties. Many women admired Ning Fan because he gave them a sense of security. With Ning Fan around, they wouldn't have to lead a wandering life. This was the love of a chaotic world. Master, don't be so stingy. Just teaching me a little is enough for me to enjoy for the rest of my life. Mistress, please help me put in a good word. The rogue devil looked at Si Wuxie with a flattering expression. His words triggered the coldness in Si Wuxie's eyes. What did you call me? Mistress. Boom. Si Wuxie waved her sleeves and the rogue devil was sent flying while coughing blood. The scattered devil trembled in fear. He was not Si Wuxie's opponent at all. I don't know what I said wrong to anger this new mistress. Sigh, it's better to be careful with my words, lest I say something wrong and get killed by this new mistress. The loose devil obediently shut his mouth and silently flew away. Lu Xiao and the rest were trembling. They were all shocked by Si Wuxie's strength. Sending a rogue devil flying was as easy as sending a mortal child flying. This woman was truly terrifying, as expected of their mistress. Thus, each of the old monsters looked at Ning Fan's back with admiration. Ning Fan felt uneasy, as if there was a blade on his back. This group of Xiao slaves you took in, none of them are serious. However, with their help, breaking the seal on the Tree of Immortality will be much faster, and I will be much more relaxed. Si Wuxie frowned and asked, Are you really going to destroy every level of the Gate of Heaven? The heavenly gates of the 14th floor of the Heaven Realm were destroyed one after another. When Si Wuxie saw that Ning Fan was able to destroy the heavenly gates, she was also surprised. Seeing that Ning Fan could obtain benefits from the heavenly gates, she was also surprised. And these star stones are useful to me. By the way, Cici, your complexion doesn't seem to be very good. Did something happen to the true body above the four heavens? Ning Fan looked at Si Wuxie with some concern. He noticed that Si Wuxie's face was a little pale. He wanted to use the mind-reading technique, but he couldn't see through her mind. After all, her true body was an immortal expert. I don't need you to care about my matters. Si Wuxie's eyes were slightly evasive, but there was a trace of indescribable warmth in her heart. Ning Fan was concerned about her. Si Wuxie didn't tell Ning Fan that her true body above the four heavens was currently facing the great heavenly tribulation of the void-shedding realm. The great heavenly tribulation of an immortal was extremely terrifying. Even the strongest old monsters didn't have absolute confidence that they could pass the great heavenly tribulation. Si Wuxie's tribulation this time wasn't going smoothly because she needed to create a clone to help Ning Fan search for the undying tree in the mortal world. Even if she could pass this tribulation, her true body would suffer a lot of injuries. Her foundation might even be damaged by the great heavenly tribulation. However, Si Wuxie naturally wouldn't tell Ning Fan about this. You don't need me to care about you. What if I insist? Ning Fan asked with a smile. Wait until your cultivation base is strong enough to care about me, then you can say this. Si Wuxie frowned and closed her eyes, no longer paying attention to Ning Fan. All right. Ning Fan smiled faintly and no longer said anything. Ming Ke was nibbling on an apple-shaped 100,000 years old spiritual herb while looking at Ning Fan and Si Wuxie with a smile. Occasionally she would reveal an ambiguous smile, but no one knew what she was thinking about. After summoning the rogue devil and with Si Wuxie's help, there was no longer any danger for Ning Fan in the 33 heavens without the 9 ancestors and 18 kings. Of course, if it wasn't necessary, Si Wuxie didn't like to take action. 2 years had passed. Ning Fan had traveled all the way to the 32 heavens and destroyed all the heavenly gates. There were already 17 cultivators and a toad behind him. Among the 17 cultivators, other than Lu Xiao and Yan Zhen who were at the 7-break realm, there were 3 more 7-break realm cultivators. There were also 2 8-break realm cultivators, 6 6-break realm cultivators and 4 5-break realm cultivators. With so many experts, all of them had become Ning Fan's slaves. It wasn't hard to imagine how terrifying the overall strength of the Rain World would be if he were to bring these experts back to the Rain World. He had already obtained all the star stones for the first 32 heavens. Along the way, the corpse chi in his body had also grown to a point where it could no longer grow. In the 29th level of the Heaven World, Ning Fan discovered the place where the sect master of the Pill sect kept raising ghosts. This place was connected to the Demon Sinister Forest. Looking at the Demon Sinister Forest, Ning Fan's eyes flashed. This place was connected to the Rain World. He did not want to leave a passage in the ancient heavenly court that would directly connect to the Rain World. Even if the passage was blocked by the realm-breaking light. Ning Fan ordered Lu Xiao and the others to use the secret technique of the Immortal Burying Clan to destroy this ghost-raising grand formation. If the sect master of the Pill sect suspects it in the future, he would only think that it was the Immortal Burying Clan who destroyed his ghost-raising formation. He would not suspect Ning Fan at all. The spoils of war that he had obtained from the hundreds of battles were innumerable. There were more than 7 million Dao crystals. Currently, the number of Dao crystals in Ning Fan's body was already close to 11 million. Unfortunately, he was already at the 6-break realm. Every time he refined 160 Dao crystals, he could only increase his magic power by 1 yuan. It would be a pure waste for him to devour these Dao crystals. It could only increase his magic power by 70,000 yuan. If he leaves them to the ladies of 7 Apricot City, it would be the best choice. Unfortunately, even if Ning Fan devours the Void Fragmentation Realm Dao fruits now, the effect would be minimal. These Dao fruits would also be left to the ladies. Now that his cultivation base had reached the 6-break realm, it was really not easy for him to continue improving. The 9 heavenly layers of the Void Fragmentation Realm were easy at the beginning and the cultivation speed was extremely fast. However, it would become extremely slow towards the end. This was the reason why the Rain Sovereign was stuck at the 5-break realm. It was also the reason why countless sovereigns of the 9 worlds were stuck at the 5-break realm and the reason why rogue immortals were so rare. In the lower worlds, there were almost no high-grade 7th Revolution Pill Refinement Masters. However, only those whose pill refinement mastery has reached the high-grade 7th Revolution could concoct pills that could increase the cultivation base of the 6-break realm. Perhaps it would be easier for him to continue improving his cultivation base after he ascends to the upper worlds, or perhaps, if he has enough Void Fragmentation Realm cauldrons, Ning Fan could not help but think of the Blood Slave Garden. However, he quickly erased the thought from his mind. It was because they had already arrived at the 33rd floor of the Heaven Realm. The last heavenly gate of the 32 heavens was destroyed by Ning Fan, revealing the light path passage behind the heavenly gate. After flying through the passage, Ning Fan and his group appeared in the 33 heavens. Ning Fan's eyes widened as he scanned the surrounding scenery with his spirit sense. The scenery here is so familiar. So familiar. When he was still a butterfly, he had been here before. The continents here were smashed into smithereens. On the ground, there were still traces of terrifying battles in the past. There were gigantic palm prints that stretched for tens of thousands of li, skeletons of ferocious beasts that were 1 million zhang in size and countless blood pools that had dried up long ago filled with the blood of fallen ancient immortals. A hint of sorrow and hatred flashed across Si Wuxia's clear and cold eyes unnoticeably. Those emotions belonged to the daughter of the former heavenly emperor, Mu Weiliang. It was the first time for Lu Xiao and the others to come to the 33 heavens. Even in the Immortal Burying Clan, no one dared to go to the 33 heavens. The heaven realm above the 27th floor was listed as a forbidden area by the 9 ancestors and 18 kings. Looking at the traces of terrifying battles on the ground, the group of old monsters could not help but feel astonished even though they had tens of thousands of years of experience. Obviously, the area above the 33 heavens was the main battlefield where the heavenly court was destroyed in the past. It was hard for them to imagine what kind of terrifying battle had taken place in this place to leave behind such shocking ruins. The memories I obtained are very vague. I don't remember how the heavenly court was destroyed. Do you remember? Si Wuxia looked at Ning Fan seriously for the first time, as if she was eager for a satisfactory answer. I don't know. He did not tell Si Wuxia about immortal Emperor Zhang Qin killing the heavenly emperor. If she knew about it, she might feel sad. After all, she was once one of Mu Weiliang's 7 spirits. Is that so? Let's go. We'll head east until we reach the ruins of Liangshan Palace. Then, we'll find the Tree of Immortality. Si Wuxia pointed in a direction. Ning Fan rode the ancient sword and dashed forward at full speed. The rogue devils and the others followed behind him. When the demon beasts they encountered along the way saw this majestic group of experts, they all prostrated themselves on the ground, not daring to attack recklessly. Ning Fan did not say much. He just looked at the broken walls and ruins, feeling shocked. I've been here before. I've been here before. He closed his eyes, recalling the remnant dream he had in the samsara. He was a butterfly that only had the ambition to ascend to the heavens. He tried to fly to the heavenly court time and time again, but he failed again and again. Finally, one day he managed to fly up, but his life was gone. It was Mu Weiliang who saved him and brought him to live a short and peaceful life in the heavenly court. Then, Zhang Qin rebelled and the heavenly court was destroyed. Ning Fan did not know how many days had passed. When he opened his eyes, Liangshan Palace was already right in front of him. A beautiful scenery on a fine day, but who's the courtyard that pleases the heart? His eyes suddenly turned cold. He had a deep memory of this place. There should be a herb garden next to Liangshan Palace. That was the place where he met Mu Weiliang. That was the place where he would die 100 times without regret, the place where he would turn into ashes in his rage. The herb garden was already in the Yuan Yao Jade. Naturally, it was impossible for there to be another herb garden in this place. Ning Fan flew past the ruins of Liangshan Palace. Behind the ruins, he saw a golden divine tree that towered into the sky. The undying tree. Faint golden light floated around the undying tree, forming mysterious and incomprehensible Tao marks. As soon as Ming Ke saw the undying tree, her eyes widened and her mouth watered. This is delicious. It's definitely delicious. When the rogue devil saw the undying tree, he was extremely excited. Lu Xiu and the others were also extremely excited. The undying tree. It's the undying tree. It's a supreme treasure that can allow dead cultivators to return to the world of mortals. Ning Fan gently held Ming Ke's hand with a hint of sadness in his eyes. I can't eat this. I have a use for it. I need to save someone. Oh, then I won't eat it. Ming Ke nodded her head softly. She had never seen such a sad expression on Ning Fan's face. What she did not know was that the place where the undying tree grew was the place where Ning Fan died in battle in his previous life. It was Ning Fan's unrepentant will and the vast magical power fluctuations from the shattered eye of Pom Qing that gave birth to the undying tree in the future. When Ning Fan saw the undying tree for the first time, he understood the reason why it was born. That year, he shattered immortal Emperor Zhang Qing's eye with his mortal butterfly body. However, he could only save Mu Weiliang once. In the end, Mu Weiliang still died. He was once so useless. Even if he had the intention to kill the emperor, he was powerless to reverse the situation. In this life, he would never let any of his loved ones die. He wanted to revive Mu Weiliang. No one could stop his footsteps. All of you are not allowed to have any ideas about the undying tree. Ning Fan's cold eyes swept across the rogue devil and the others, causing them to keep quiet out of fear. They no longer dared to have any greedy thoughts. He was polite and doting to Ming Quebec naturally. He did not need to be polite to the rogue devil and the others. There is an extremely powerful seal planted on the undying tree. I have only broken 1/7 of the seal before I went to the lower heaven realm. However, with so many helpers here, the speed of breaking the seal will certainly be very fast. These people will stay behind to help me break the seal. As for you, Si Wuxia looked at Ning Fan, wanting to say something but hesitated. What do you need me to do? Just say it. Take this formation diagram. Use your blood to carve the formation marks. Set up this formation with the undying tree as the center. Si Wuxia hesitated for a moment, then took out a blood-red jade slip and handed it to Ning Fan. This is easy. What do I need to do after setting up the grand formation? After setting up the grand formation, you need to have a good rest and recover your vitality. You will need to pay a huge price to resurrect her. You need to be mentally prepared. Her soul is still here, but you want her to reform her soul. This is against the law of samsara. You have to know that you will have to pay a huge price for going against the law of samsara. Knowing this, are you still willing to help her reform her soul? Si Wuxia looked at Ning Fan quietly. Ning Fan did not answer her. He just asked Bright Sparrow to stay behind to take some medicine and rest. Then he went to set up the blood formation in a flash. Some questions already had the answer from the beginning. There was no need to answer them. Si Wuxia looked at Ning Fan's disappearing figure with a hint of sadness in her eyes. However, she hid it quietly and commanded the rogue devils and the others to break the seal. Bright Sparrow, on the other hand, was resting leisurely. After all, she could not help much with her broken cultivation base, could she? Or perhaps, it was already a blessing in misfortune that she did not help or cause trouble. Ning Fan looked at the formation diagram in his hand and remained silent. This was an immortal formation called the reverse cycle blood formation. With Ning Fan's current cultivation base in the Tao of formation, it was not enough to set up an immortal formation. Even if he forcibly set it up, he could only exert less than 10% of the formation's power. Fortunately, this formation used the undying tree as the source of formation power. Even if it only had 10% of the formation's power, it could still exert 100% of the formation's power. This was enough. The coverage of the formation was extremely wide, stretching to 10,000 li. Ning Fan needed to use his own blood to draw the complete formation map of 10,000 li. This was not an easy task. He had the star technique to heal his wounds and blood replenishing pills to replenish his blood. Even so, he could only finish drawing the formation diagram of 100 li in a day. During this process, he needed to exhaust his blood countless times and recover it countless times. The process was difficult, but it was not worth mentioning. 100 days later, Ning Fan finished drawing the entire formation diagram and filled the formation eyes with a large number of Tao crystals. An immortal formation could not be activated by immortal jade. Even though the undying tree was the source of the formation power, it could not provide all the formation power after all. Ning Fan used 2 million Tao crystals to fill all the formation eyes. When he returned to the undying tree, half of the seal on it had already been broken. He still had time to recover his primordial qi. The best way to recover his primordial qi was to use the star technique to recuperate his body. Ning Fan took out all the star stones he had obtained from this trip and sat cross-legged beside Bright Sparrow. He refined them one by one, and the number of stars in his body began to increase rapidly. 1695, 1710, 1725, after devouring half of the star stones, a loud bang suddenly resounded in the sky. Lu Xiao and the others stopped what they were doing and raised their heads to look at the sky. All of them were shocked. Bright Sparrow was also looking at the sky with a puzzled expression. Si Wuxia looked at the sky. She did not look surprised, but her eyes flashed with a hint of sadness. Ning Fan looked at the sky and his eyes suddenly turned as cold as ice. Amidst the loud bang, a giant door slowly appeared in the sky. It was an immeasurably huge purple-golden door. The door was completely destroyed and it could no longer be opened. The key to the door was once kept by Mu Weiliang, but she was deceived by Zhang Qing. That giant door was the reason why the ancient heavenly court was destroyed. In the past, immortal Emperor Zhang Qing opened the giant door and stepped out from it, starting a massacre. Cici, you seem to know where that giant door leads to? Ning Fan closed his eyes to calm the coldness in them and asked. I don't know. In my memory, there are very few mentions about this door. The ancient records of the Kunlun Jade Pool only briefly mentioned about this door. It only said that there are endless dangers behind this door and it can't be opened. However, this door was destroyed after the ancient heavenly court was destroyed and it can no longer be opened. Every 1,000 years, this door will reappear in the heavenly court and then disappear. Si Wuxie answered. Is that so? Ning Fan was silent for a while and kept looking at the giant purple golden door. Si Wuxie and the others continued to break the seal. 10 days later, the shadow of the giant door disappeared. Ning Fan's eyes flashed, but he did not say anything and continued to refine the black star stones. 2 months later, he had completely refined all the star stones. The number of natal stars in his body had reached 8,800, which was more than what he expected. 8,800 natal stars were enough to instantly heal the injuries left by a rogue immortal. Even if he was besieged by a few rogue immortals, he would not die. Of course, if the number of rogue immortals besieging him reached a certain level, the speed of his recovery might not be able to keep up with the speed of his injuries. The seal of the undying tree was only 1 step away from being completely broken. The moment the seal was broken, Lu Xiao and the other void fragmentation old monsters' knees went weak and they fell to the ground. Each of their faces looked extremely weak. Even the rogue immortals had an expression of great exhaustion. Si Wuxie's face was even paler. Her true body was at the critical moment of transcending the tribulation, but her avatar was wasting its magical power here. This had a great impact on her true body. Si Wuxie's body went limp and leaned to one side as if she was about to fall, but Ning Fan immediately caught her and she fell into his arms. Are you all right? Ning Fan asked with a frown. At this moment, Si Wuxie's complexion was abnormally weak. Not only was her magical power greatly consumed, even her avatar was on the verge of collapse. If it was just breaking the seal, there shouldn't be such a huge loss. Perhaps, something happened to Si Wuxie's true body and she was seriously injured, which also damaged her avatar. I'm alright, but I'm afraid this body can't use any magical power anymore. If there are any strong enemies, I won't be able to protect you. Si Wuxie blushed and pushed Ning Fan away. She stubbornly stood still and said, The seal of the undying tree has been broken. Take out her corpse and help her reconstruct her soul. Although the 7 treasures are good, they are still external objects. Ning Fan was slightly nervous. Was it finally time to reconstruct Mu Weiliang's soul? So what if it went against the law of samsara? He couldn't let Ji He and the other women dissipate their souls, and he couldn't let Mu Weiliang lose her soul. If he had to pay any price to bring Mu Weiliang back to life, he was willing to pay this price. He stroked the Yuan Yao jade with his fingers. In the next moment, an ancient green coffin appeared under the undying tree. That year, he was the butterfly and she was the princess. This year, he was the devil and she was the corpse. Ning Fan slowly opened the coffin and put it aside. He looked at Mu Weiliang's sleeping face and his heart gradually calmed down. Next, what do I need to do to reconstruct her soul? Ning Fan raised his head and looked at Si Wuxie. You need to pay 3 prices, then borrow the power of the reverse cycle blood formation and the undying tree to help her soul reconstruct. But is it possible? What price do I need to pay? The first price is that you need to cut off half of your soul as a medium to reconstruct her soul. Si Wuxie looked at Ning Fan quietly. The higher the cultivation base of a cultivator, cutting off one's soul would damage their lifespan and foundation. She was wondering if Ning Fan would agree to this request. That's easy. What's the second price? Ning Fan asked indifferently. The second price is that you need to destroy your 7 emotions and send them to her so that she will have true feelings after she comes back to life. From now on, you won't cry or laugh. You will become a heartless person. Of course, if you can reconstruct your 7 emotions, you will naturally be able to return to normal. Even if I have to destroy my 7 emotions, I won't become a heartless person. What's the third price? The third price. Si Wuxie lowered her eyes and remained silent. After a long time, she transmitted her voice to Ning Fan. Do you dare to abandon samsara? The true samsara. If you abandon it, You will die with your void fragmentation cultivation base and you won't have the chance to be reincarnated. If you abandon it, you will die with your immortal cultivation base and you won't have the chance to be reborn. Do you dare? The price of defying the law of samsara is to be abandoned by the heaven and earth samsara. Do you dare to exchange your life for hers? This is equally easy. Let's start to save her. Si Wuxia began to teach Ning Fan the specific treatment method. Ning Fan did not say much. He moved the sword light on his finger and slashed at his chest. The wound was instantly healed by the black star. However, his face turned as pale as a piece of paper in an instant because his soul had been slashed into two. Speaking of which, this was the second time he severed his soul. Ning Fan held a ball of half-black and half-white soul light in his hand and pressed it into Mu Weiliang's chest. Then, he withdrew his palm and pointed at the top of his own head. Destroying the 7 emotions, Ning Fan's eyes dimmed after he pointed his finger at her head. Then he used his other hand to point at the top of Mu Weiliang's head and transferred the power of the 7 emotions to her. The last price was to be abandoned by the samsara. The method was very simple. This formation would be activated by Ning Fan and this soul would be reconstructed by him. Thus, he would be abandoned by the samsara. All of you, get out of the reverse cycle blood formation. I will activate the formation here. The moment the seal of the undying tree was broken, the expressions of all the ancestral kings of the first 27 heavens changed. When the power of the undying tree disappeared bit by bit, the 9 ancestors and 18 kings revealed expressions of fury. Damn it! Damn it! It's obvious that there are only a few years left. Who dares to break the seal of the undying tree and extract its power? The undying tree is the main reason why the primogenitor can be resurrected. Now that this person has extracted the power of the undying tree, how is the primogenitor going to be resurrected? Damn it! Damn it! It's meaningless for us to stay in the cave dwelling. Quickly gather the people of our clan and use the power of the immortal burying altar to rush to the 33 heavens. I want to kill the person who destroyed the tree. Chapter 680. Love in troubled times was not a simple desire of the flesh, nor was it a simple love between a man and a woman. Among them, there were gratitude, righteousness, requests, admiration, and too much helplessness. Ning Fan sent everyone out of the reverse cycle blood formation. Then he reached out his hand and gently caressed Mu Weiliang's sleeping face. There were some feelings that could not be explained in a lifetime, just like how he and Mu Weiliang had been entangled in 2 lifetimes. Was it simple love? No, it was hard to explain, but when Ning Fan saw that she was in trouble, he would disregard everything and rush to Zhang Qing's aid. In order for her to wake up, Ning Fan was willing to sever his own divine soul and extinguish his 7 emotions, losing his chance of reincarnation forever. That was enough. Mu Weiliang's bright and clean sleeping face had a kind of tranquil beauty. Her delicate skin was slightly cold. Ning Fan withdrew his palm and the corners of his mouth curled into a smile. He was smiling. Even though he had lost his 7 emotions, he was still laughable. Smiling was an expression that had nothing to do with one's mood. If Ning Fan wanted to laugh, he could laugh. Even if he did not feel happy, he would still find it funny. It was just like how even though Yun Tianjue had lost his 7 emotions, he still stubbornly loved Ning Qian. He would still fly into a rage and kill his enemies. Heaven could destroy human feelings, but it could not take away human thoughts. A truly heartless person would be cold-blooded and heartless to his loved ones, even if he still had 7 emotions. That was true heartless. Ning Fan was not one of them. Even if he had to destroy his 7 emotions, he was not a heartless person. He formed a seal with his 10 fingers and silently activated the reverse cycle blood array's power. He closed his eyes. The blood formation that stretched for thousands of miles instantly lit up with a blood-red glow. When the blood light shone on the green coffin, it seeped into Mu Weiliang's body and melted the 7 relics in her body. Using Ning Fan's ordinary soul as the foundation, it gradually formed a new soul and spirit in her body. Mu Weiliang originally had souls. Her 3 souls were Jihe, Mu Xiaoyang, and Mu Xiaohuan. Her 7 spirits were Si Wuxia. Her 3 spiritual souls and 7 physical souls had not been destroyed, but she had reconstructed her soul. The souls of 2 lives coexisted. This did not conform to the rules of reincarnation. Therefore, Ning Fan was punished by the heavenly Tao Samsara. Ning Fan had a feeling that something in his body was being extracted bit by bit. He knew that what was being stripped away was the right to enter the cycle of reincarnation. From today onwards, if he were to die, he would never have the chance to be reborn. The power of the tree of immortality was also being drained bit by bit. There were originally several immortal fruits on the tree, but in just 10 breaths of time, all the immortal fruits had withered and finally turned into ashes. Ning Fan's wish of collecting the undying fruit cores was going to fail. However, the seal in his body had long been broken, so the fruit core was useless to him. The towering golden divine tree withered little by little. Inside the green coffin, Mu Weilong's vitality was getting stronger and stronger. Ning Fan closed his eyes and silently controlled the grand formation. After losing the right to enter the cycle of reincarnation, he actually gained a deeper understanding of it. In this world, there are gains and losses. After escaping the cycle of reincarnation, he stood outside the mountain and looked at the mountain with a single glance. You can't see the true face of Mount Lu because you're in this mountain. I died in battle all those years ago, and now I've returned to this place. Isn't this a form of reincarnation as well? In my previous life, I met Weiliang here, but I couldn't protect her. In this life, I'm here to help her be reborn. Isn't this also a form of reincarnation? However, be it me in my previous life or in this life, there's one thing that has never changed. It's the obsession in my heart. It seems like reincarnation can't erase the obsession in my heart. Perhaps, reincarnation isn't the strongest power in this world. Reincarnation. A trace of weak power of reincarnation in his body began to grow at an extremely slow speed. His mind was gradually lost in the reverse cycle blood formation, as if he had become one with the formation. Inside the green coffin, Mu Weiliang's memories flowed into Ning Fan's sea of consciousness. The rumbling sounds of battle gradually reached his ears. Various scenes emerged in his mind. Vaguely, he seemed to have seen the scene where the ancient heavenly court was destroyed. In the sky above the heavenly court, a giant purple golden door opened. A golden-haired man took a step out and killed countless immortals with a wave of his hand. He was Master Qing. He casually threw a fist-sized eyeball to the ground. That eyeball was the eye of a heavenly emperor. He disdainfully attacked Mu Weiliang, but a butterfly flew into the sky and destroyed one of his eyes. It shocked him greatly. In the end, the butterfly turned into ashes and disappeared. However, the butterfly's heroic act of fighting an immortal emperor had aroused the blood of countless immortals in the ancient heavenly court. More and more experts walked out from the giant purple golden door. All of them were enemies. The destruction of the heavenly court was imminent. Master Qing took out a treasure to seal the ancient divine heart power of all the immortals in the heavenly court. Mu Weiliang rushed towards Master Qing with tears in her eyes, wanting to avenge the little butterfly. However, she was killed by Master Qing with just a finger. An elderly immortal emperor sealed Mu Weiliang's corpse into a green coffin. His eyes were filled with tears. The heavenly emperor had fallen, the princess was dead, and her divine heart was sealed. The heavenly court would most likely not be able to escape the calamity like the devil race and the demon race. But so what? What's there to fear about death? What's there to fear about annihilation? Immortals of the heavenly court, follow me to kill all the enemies in the outer domain. Avenge the emperor. Kill. 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 Even though the butterfly was dead, it had conveyed its obsession to everyone. Even an ordinary butterfly did not fear death. What did they, the dignified immortals of the heavenly court, have to fear? Master Qing's eyes were cold. With a point of his finger, the heavens collapsed. That finger could destroy the nirvana samsara. With just a point of his finger, several immortal emperors had fallen. However, no one feared Master Qing. No one feared the enemies in the outer domain. The elderly immortal emperor laughed loudly. His eyes were blood-red as he rushed towards Master Qing and self-destructed his body. Master Qing grunted as if he had suffered some injuries. Beside him, many experts from the outer domain were blown to death by the self-destruction. Even more immortals' eyes were blood-red as they began to fight with their lives to kill the enemies in the outer domain. Most cultivators cherished their lives, but at this moment, they were not afraid of death. A giant immortal emperor burned his primordial spirit and punched towards Master Qing with the power of the heavens. Countless mountains and rivers shattered. In the face of such a powerful punch, Master Qing only raised his finger and pressed the giant immortal emperor's body into ashes. The giant immortal emperor's primordial spirit laughed loudly and rushed towards Master Qing. People from the outer domain, scram. Boom. The primordial spirit self-destructed, and Master Qing was slightly injured once again. Another immortal emperor riding a yellow bull laughed at the sky and rushed towards Master Qing. There was an indescribable heroism in his laughter, as if he was not afraid of heaven and earth. Big Yellow, you die first. This old man will follow closely behind. As soon as the immortal emperor gave the order, the yellow bull under him immediately rushed towards Master Qing. The yellow bull's strength was comparable to an immortal emperor. The pair of horns on his head was extremely sharp, enough to penetrate the defense of most immortal emperors. Evil creature, you're courting death. Master Qing snorted coldly and raised his finger to destroy the yellow bull. Although the yellow bull was destroyed, the pair of golden bull horns on his head was not destroyed by Master Qing's finger. Instead, they pierced into Master Qing's dantian. This was the first time Master Qing coughed out blood since he opened the realm gate. The immortal emperor showed a sorrowful expression. That sorrow was because of the death of the yellow bull. Once, he was still a shepherd boy riding a yellow bull in the forest. He met an immortal master by chance and embarked on the path of immortality. That bull accompanied him for a lifetime, and now it was dead. Big Yellow, don't worry. This old man is coming for you. Ha! The old man suddenly dismembered his body. His body turned into countless sword rays and rushed towards Master Qing fearlessly. Master Qing's eyes turned cold. He raised his finger to block most of the sword rays, but he was still injured by a small part of them. While immortal Emperor Yellow Bull was holding Master Qing back, thousands of immortals rushed towards the purple gold gate. There were no unnecessary words, no hesitation. There was only a look of indomitable will. The ancient immortals of the heavenly court used their flesh and blood to hit the purple gold gate. They wanted to destroy the heavenly gate. The purple gold gate gradually cracked and became illusory. Then, it gradually began to close. Master Qing's eyes were extremely cold. The gate had been destroyed. The passage to the outer realm that was opened with great difficulty was destroyed just like that. Millions of years of planning had been destroyed in an instant. Great venerable Master Qing, let's retreat. An immortal emperor from the outer realm gritted his teeth. Although the passage to the outer realm had been destroyed, it was already a great victory to destroy the god, demon, and demon races. There was no need to continue to lose troops. Wanna leave? Do you think I'll allow it? An extremely dignified middle-aged man stepped on millions of black starlight and approached them step by step. He was wearing a black dragon robe. One of his eyes was gouged out and black blood kept flowing out. He looked at the battlefield where almost all the immortals of the heavenly court had died in battle. Then he raised his head and laughed loudly. Let's die together. Boom! At this moment, heaven's sovereign self-destructed. The remaining immortals of the heavenly court also self-destructed. The extremely terrifying force of self-destruction swept across, killing countless enemies from the outer realm. Master Qing coughed out blood in horror. He could not believe that Heaven's sovereign, who had been killed by him, was still alive. At the critical moment, he gave him a fatal blow. Countless black star forces entered Master Qing's body. His injuries were severe. He gritted his teeth and escaped back to the outer realm just before the purple gold gate completely collapsed. The remaining enemies from the outer realm were all dead. Ning Fan opened his eyes and felt a little more samsara power in his body. He remained silent. He had obtained Wei Yang's memories. Does this mean that Wei Yang had lost her memories of the past? If she wakes up, she won't remember the destruction of the heavenly court, right? That's good too. To her, that memory will only bring her sadness. It's better to forget it. However, I didn't expect such a heroic battle to take place on the eve of the heavenly court's destruction. On the path of Tao cultivation, we must cherish our lives. However, there are many times when we have no choice but to disregard our lives. Ning Fan's hand seals kept changing. The undying tree was almost completely withered. It was almost a dead tree without any spirituality. Mu Weiyang's soul was also almost completely restored. She was going to be a real living person soon. Her steady breathing entered Ning Fan's ears, making him feel even calmer. The corner of her mouth curved into a smile. Perhaps she was dreaming of something good. Little butterfly, don't run. Wait for me. She spoke softly in her sleep. What she said made Ning Fan chuckle. It turned out that she was dreaming of him. After a while, she would wake up. All of a sudden, countless rays of teleportation light shone in the sky. Countless members of the immortal burial clan appeared around the undying tree. Si Wuxie and the others rushed to Ning Fan's side. Each of them looked at the sky solemnly. Ning Fan, the situation doesn't look good. Was she resurrected? If he has completely resurrected, we'll retreat immediately. It's not advisable to confront these people head-on. Si Wuxie's beautiful eyes were solemn. Even a fool could tell that these immortal burial clansmen came with ill intentions. In the short span of a dozen breaths, the 9 ancestors and 18 kings had all arrived. More and more members of the immortal burial race rushed to this place. There were already several hundred void fragmentation realm experts. All of them were brimming with killing intent. I still need some time before I can be completely revived. Ning Fan clenched his fists tightly and said, "Damn it." Si Wuxie frowned and cursed in a low voice. In order to break the seal, she had almost used up all of her magic power. The main body was undergoing the great heavenly tribulation. At this moment, the clone was already in a state of collapse and did not have the strength to fight anymore. Even if the clone was fine, it was impossible for a rogue immortal clone to fight against the entire immortal burial clan. Lu Xiao and the others were extremely weak because they had broken the seal. More than half of the scattered magic power had been consumed. In the face of such a great battle, no matter how powerful the scattered magic was, it was useless. The tree of immortality is destroyed. The tree of immortality was truly destroyed. Haha. The 9 ancestors and 18 kings looked at the withered tree of immortality, their eyes brimming with tears as they threw their heads back and laughed uproariously. Then, everyone's killing intent locked onto Ning Fan. It was this outsider who had annihilated the members of the immortal burial clan along the way. It was this outsider who had destroyed the tree of immortality. Just as he was filled with anger and shock, the second ancestor suddenly saw the rogue devil. He was slightly startled, but his eyes were filled with disdain. Then he saw Ming Ke and Mu Weiyang, who was in the green coffin. His face was filled with joy. The rogue devil was also a pill body devil. However, there were 2 types of pill devils. One was a pill body and the other was a devil body. He had a devil body and did not have any pill power. Thus, he could not help the primogenitor to revive. Ming Ke was a pill devil with a pill body. She was a pill devil with an extremely high quality. Mu Weiyang had absorbed all the power of the Tree of Immortality. However, she had yet to completely refine it. If they capture Mu Weiyang and offer her to the primogenitor, the undying power would definitely be transmitted to the primogenitor. If they capture Ming Ke and offer her to the primogenitor's pill devil body would definitely be completely restored. Everyone, don't despair. Even though the Tree of Immortality is destroyed, that little pill devil and the lady in the green coffin are still very useful to the primogenitor. Capture the 2 ladies. Kill the rest. Under the command of the 9 ancestors and 18 kings, The experts of the Burying Immortal clan rushed towards the Tree of Immortality like a tidal wave. Cici, Ming-Ke, you two stay here and protect the green coffin. Big Head, the rest of you will also stay under the Tree of Immortality and guard the green coffin. I will deal with the Burying Immortal clan alone. Ning Fan took a step forward and soared into the sky. He fearlessly stared at the experts who were rushing towards him like a tidal wave. The formation was almost completed. It could now operate on its own. He could fight them. The rogue devil and the others only needed to protect Mu Whaleyong. Before Mu Whaleyong is completely resurrected, no one can fly within 10,000 li of the Tree of Immortality. Ning Fan turned into black robes and extracted the void soul of the great earth. His eyes were filled with devil intent. He pointed at the sky and 8,800 pitch-black stars suddenly appeared under the clear sky. He would never let Mu Whaleyong die for the second time in his life. The area within 10,000 li of the Tree of Immortality was a forbidden area that he could not trespass. Black Star Technique. Heaven Sovereign's Black Star Technique. Moreover, he actually has so many natal stars. The 9 ancestors and 18 kings were shocked. At the next moment, Ning Fan made a grabbing motion with his hand. Boundless black starlight condensed into a starry bow. The devil talisman of the ancestral devil turned into strange patterns and was engraved on the starry bow. This was the secret technique of the 6-winged progenitor, Star Punishing Bow. Without saying a word, Ning Fan drew the bow and shot an arrow at the cultivators of the Immortal Burial clan. The power of this arrow seemed to have triggered the great force of 8,800 stars. At the moment when this arrow was shot, every region of the 33rd level of the heaven realm was bathed in black starlight and trembled violently. When the remains of countless immortals who had died many years ago sensed the black star power, they actually shed tears. It was extremely strange. This was the technique of a heaven sovereign. It was once the glory of countless ancient immortals of the heaven court. The bowstring made a long clanging sound. The arrow that was shot out never returned. That crazy black star arrow light carried the obsession of Ning Fan's 2 lives. It turned into a rain of tens of millions of black arrows. Like a rain of locusts, they killed countless divine transformation realm and void refinement realm cultivators of the Immortal Burial clan. Cultivators whose cultivation bases were lower than the 3rd heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm were directly injured by the rain of arrows. Even those cultivators of the 8 shatter realm were slightly pushed back by the arrow light. They could not get close to the Tree of Immortality. Ning Fan drew the bow again and knocked the 2nd arrow. He then shot an arrow at one of the cultivators of the 8 shatter realm. At the moment when he shot the 1st arrow, he shot 15 arrows consecutively at the other 15 cultivators of the 8 shatter realm. His magic power had already been depleted a long time ago. Almost all of the arrows were formed by his star power. Since his star power was already so strong, it was easy for him to kill the cultivators of the 8 shatter realm in an instant. A yellow-faced old man of the 8 shatter realm looked at the arrow light that was approaching him disdainfully. He raised his finger and pressed it down. Bent arrow light. Before he could finish his words, the arrow had already penetrated his head. The black star power wreaked havoc in his body, instantly destroying his primordial spirit. In the end, the physical body of the 8 shatter realm old monster exploded and turned into a mist of blood. An 8 shatter realm cultivator was killed by Ning Fan with a single arrow. The remaining cultivators of the 8 shatter realm were shocked. After realizing how powerful the arrow light was, none of them dared to use their physical bodies to resist it. Golden shields, spiritual talismans, treasured armors. The remaining 15 8 shatter realm old monsters displayed their defensive abilities and magic treasures. Their defensive magic treasures were penetrated one after another. Their formations were broken and their abilities were destroyed. One after another, the 8 shatter realm old monsters of the Immortal Burial clan were pierced through by the star arrows. They died with hatred and exploded into mists of blood that filled the sky. The remaining 16 Eight-Shatter Realm old monsters of the Immortal Burial Clan were instantly killed by Ningfan with just a single blow. The expressions of the 325 Void Fragmentation Realm experts of the Immortal Burial Clan and the 40,000+ Void Refinement Realm experts who had yet to die changed drastically. The expressions of the 9 ancestors and 18 kings also changed drastically. They knew that it was impossible for them to kill 16 Eight-Shatter Realm cultivators in a single blow with just their strength alone. Ningfan had already reached his limit by killing 16 Eight-Shatter Realm cultivators in a row. However, the devil sense in his eyes became stronger and stronger. He raised his head and let out a long roar. A pair of devil horns grew on his head and 8 wings grew on his back. His body was surrounded by overwhelming devil chi. Ancient devil. The 9 ancestors and 18 kings were shocked. The art of killing. Ningfan forcefully devoured the blood chi of the fallen cultivators and turned them into his own essence chi. Then, he used his essence chi to draw the star-punishing bow again and aimed at the 7 Shatter Realm cultivators of the Immortal Burial Clan. His gaze was filled with terrifying baleful chi and monstrous devil sense. When they met Ningfan's ferocious eyes, the 40,000+ experts of the Immortal Burial Clan all retreated frantically. They did not dare to fight against him. The destructive power of this star arrow was too strong. It was not something they could withstand. In this place, only the 9 ancestors and 18 kings could fight against Ningfan. The 16 kings sneered. So what if you're an ancient devil? The power of your bow technique isn't weak. You can kill the 8 Shatter Realm cultivators instantly and scare the juniors of my clan away. However, you can't scare us rogue immortals. Immortal technique, Great Withering Glory Finger. That person pointed his finger at Ningfan from afar. Ningfan was immediately shrouded by a dark yellow finger light. His body actually showed signs of collapsing. Gritting his teeth, he aimed the star bow at the 16 kings and forcefully shot an arrow. At the next moment, Ningfan's physical body withered and exploded into black shadows. Then he condensed again. His face was extremely pale as if he had been severely injured by the 16 kings. As for the 16 kings, they raised their hands and pointed at the star arrow. However, they were only forced to take a few hundred steps back. Their blood and chi were in turmoil, but they were not injured at all. The difference in strength was obvious. You're not weak, but you're not my opponent. Now you can die. The 16 kings raised his hand and pointed at him with another great withering glory finger. Ningfan clenched his fists tightly. His eyes were filled with madness. He was still not a match for rogue immortals. However, so what? The starlight turned and his injuries were instantly healed. He pressed the movement-breaking bow. With a wave of his hand, the Emperor Xia sword was already in his hand. Suddenly, blood light shot up to the sky around his body. The sword was pointed at the 16 kings. Bing Jia. Just 2 words were uttered calmly, but it gave the 16 kings a feeling that their souls were about to leave their bodies. As for the other 26 ancient kings, all of them wore terrified expressions. They roared, 16 kings, retreat quickly. We can't fight against this sword light. Ningfan had already gone mad. If he wasn't mad, how could he be called a devil? In his previous life, he was just a mortal butterfly and he was not afraid of immortal Emperor Zhangqing. In this life, he was also not afraid of the 9 ancestors and 18 kings. It was not enough to bury the immortal clan. Under the undying tree, I'll fight for this life. I'll use my remnant consciousness to exchange for your life. Kill! He let out a devil roar. He had forgotten everything except for one thing. This was his battlefield. He would not retreat even half a step no matter what price he had to pay. That you're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.